Yeah, I counted down weirdly, but hi everyone. Look, you didn't see anything before the coming soon screen, and anyone who says you did, well, they're being weird. So, welcome to the Gentlemen Strangers. We are volume 4. Volumes. It's really pretentious, but I think that is the vibe. So that's okay. I hope everyone has had a wonderful couple of weeks since we last all gathered together. Please, everyone, press F to pay respects and drop some rainbowy trash bags in the chat for Ash, who wasn't able to make it today, but we love her and we wish her all the best, and we will see her next time. So we thank you to everyone who came up last week for our prequel episode with the origins of Mr Lurk, but we're returning to the prime timeline now, and the hunt for the Reverie Beast. Yes, the hunt for the Reverie Beast. So, you all you arrived back in London, and you've been given the address of Professor Charles Cramer, who is an associate of Mistress Constantine, who is doing some research on what she believes is an incipient Reverie Beast, a dream monster, also known as a Vrachnatherios. The threat that this poses is that it's a little psychic monster that lives in your dreams, but that when it gets big enough, it spreads. And she said it potentially is very dangerous for London if. And so Professor Cramer has been set to the task of researching it, confirming if it's real, and you have been commissioned as assassins. How one assassinates a Reverie Beast has not yet been revealed to you, but when you asked Madame Constantine how this was done, she said, knives and bullets, the same as anything else. So, equipped as you please, and I'm going to ask you now. Actually, I'm not going to ask you. I don't care what your load is, because you're just going along. So you arrive at the address of Professor Charles Cramer, and the door is opened by a middle-aged woman with she's got a flower-covered apron. Good evening. Are any of you doctors?
Alas, no.
Oh. Well, if you're here to see the professor, you might be in for a disappointment.
Is he
taken ill?
Ill? No, he's off on one of his... Are you here to see him?
Yep.
We are.
You do look the sort. You best come in. She takes you upstairs into a very eccentric, but I'm told everyone's audio is too faint. I don't know what to do about that.
I'm moving my mic.
Yeah, I can
closer
turn
to myself.
We've done some manual mic adjustment.
Okay, well, Bowman, let me know how that is. I've tweaked a knob. We'll see if I've tweaked the right knob. Title of No One's Sex Tape. And she takes you upstairs into a rather sumptuous, somewhat eclectically decorated flat. This is someone who is an associate of Wilhelmina Constantine, so as you can imagine, he probably has an interest in the esoteric. And it's got this, the whole vibe is this, is of someone who's independently wealthy and who knows an awful lot of archaeologists, because every shelf and surface is filled with antiques, not all of them local to the continent of Europe. But there are, more importantly, a few things of note. In this well-appointed but chaotic study, a young man lies on a chaise longue, his head and face marked with curious symbols, and in a plumptuous and comfortable-looking armchair sits an older man, perhaps in his 50s, with similar symbols on his own head. Both are unconscious. On a nearby table are quite a number of open books and handwritten papers. It seems as though you are too late to abide by Miss Constantine's warnings, as she feared the professor seems to have decided to take matters into his own hands. And you remember the second half of her warning, that Professor Cramer is gifted with a remarkable mind. Should the Reverie Beast take it, the threat will be all the greater. Moreover, even without Mr. Leech, some examination of the two men will tell you that both heartbeats are dangerously weak and alarmingly slow. Whether this is the result of drugs or something more sinister, it's hard to tell, but the indications are that before too long, one or both of these men's hearts will fail. To which end, I am going to start a clock. I'm going to desperately attempt to start a clock. And this clock is going to count down until it's too late. Where is my clock? Oh, yes. So what's going to happen is you have... you're going to have a chance to figure out what's going on and make a plan to intervene and get yourself involved. Every action that you take is going to have a chance to add segments to the clock. And adding segments to the clock is also going to be a possible consequence of an action failing, or a consequence of taking a maneuver. So let's get that. I'm just going to call it too late. It feels very grim, but I think that's the vibe we're going for on this one. So let's get that clock started at 0 segments. And so you have... I'll help you out. Gathering information. You're perfectly able to... Mrs. Beeman has not locked the door. You're perfectly welcome to leave and do prep activities somewhere that isn't here. So, yeah, it's not a locked room mystery. Please, let me know what you reckon. Oh, by the way, I will...
Leech.
I will clarify one thing. When the clock fills, the clock filling does not kill them. The clock filling means there is no more time for any further prep, and you have to go now. That would be too much for me to just have 8 segments and they die. But the clock is counting down to you must go now. Yeah. So there's quite a lot of leads to follow, or you might conjure some I haven't thought of. Go get Mr. Leech would be pretty handy. I mean, you can get Mr. Leech. I mean, you have a doctor. I mean, you do have a doctor. The Gentleman Strangers have always had a doctor that they call in for things. Mr. Leech has not been available, so if some of the information you need is medical in nature, then you do have the resources to do that.
I think, given the situation at hand, I will look to Mr. Lurk, and with the utmost of sincerity will ask the question, how well can you read?
It's a little bit rude, says Zoe, not Mr. Lurk.
Victorian England, like that's not unreasonable.
I can read, sure.
At that, Hound will point at the notes that are left about, kind of look towards Spider and say, we need to know what those symbols are on their heads. I can go get a doctor.
Yes, indeed. Hound, if you perform that task, I shall begin a thorough analysis of these papers. Lurk, if I am looking at the papers in particular, if you look for any other clues, objects, things of that matter whilst I am studying the papers, then
All right.
we can liaise and potentially move forward on that.
Do we want to get a doctor, or do we want to get one of them fancy psychiatrists?
Well, I don't know any psychiatrists.
How?
That was a thing during this was like the birth of
You're
right?
very likely to get someone who is going to analyze the shapes of their skulls.
We have no need of phrenology or mentalism here, I believe. We need...
But isn't this in their minds? Shouldn't we get a, brain doctor?
I don't think we need to cut into anyone's skulls just yet.
Okay.
Well, what you need is a doctor who's not going to ask any questions about the occult nature of what's going on.
Yes. I'm sure Hound can find a suitable medical professional or veterinary surgeon.
Right, oh. That was meant to be right you are, and then too many words tried to come out of my mouth.
Right,
I thought you just said righty-o and a really chip
Righty-o.
away. Off I trot. Okay, so off Mr. Hound trots to fetch a physician of some... A physician who's willing to take a coin to not worry too much or ask too many questions.
I might even get my own, I guess patron would be a word.
Yeah.
Dr. Richmond.
Well, Dr. Richmond is certainly, at the very least, a discreet fellow, so that does make a certain amount of sense. Okay, so you are going to go and do that. So meanwhilest, Messrs. Lurk and Spider.
I'm gonna look for clues. I don't really know what that means.
Well, so there is a table with a bunch of open books and some handwritten notes on it that may be relevant, but he has a considerable bookshelf as well, so you could start anywhere really.
I don't know. I feel like he would probably be overwhelmed by this. This is not his particular. He usually, when he is searching for things, is searching for money or, artifacts, I guess. Things that are worth a lot of money. So I think he may ask for clarification from Mr. Spider for what sorts of things he is looking for.
Well,
or if it's just kind of anything.
Anything out of the ordinary, anything that might lead one to fall into the mental pit of esoterica.
Anything that would cause you to fall into the mental pit of esoterica. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I will search.
Okay. And so are you searching the stop blurring me. Are you searching the library or the table? Just so I know what to yeah.
I think the library generally, because it looked like Mr. Spider was going to be looking at the specifics on the table.
Well, okie dokie. So yeah, let's get you rolling something.
That's a survey?
It could be a survey, it could be a study.
I am gonna go with survey.
Yeah.
Controlled.
Yeah.
Standard. No bonus dice. Submit.
A 6. Very good. A fantastic omen. Well, you can certainly tell. Your first glance tells you that Professor Cramer has a wide diversity of interests, which you could probably have told from the decorations alone. But you can see that these interests are. This is someone you would say in not an entirely complimentary way. Is very broad-minded. Mr. Spider would certainly not say it in a complimentary way, but there are all sorts of texts here that are very disreputable. There are fully 3 texts on something called tantric practice. One can only imagine what that might entail. Izzy's expression is fantastic. You do find something on the bookshelf that makes you gives you a clue as to some of the process taking place, but it's actually not. You notice a book that's out of place, and you open it and you see that it's actually a novelty sort of it's a box, it's a lockbox in the shape of a book, and within it you can see vials of some kind of substance, and syringes for the administration of the substance. Since they've been painstakingly placed back, presumably after use, you can only conclude that Mrs. Beeman has done so in an effort to keep the place looking respectable should a doctor come. But yes, you certainly see that. There are numerous gaps in the bookshelf that probably correspond to the books that Mr. Spider is looking at. So, Mr. Spider,
Hello.
as Mr. Lurk is searching the bookshelf, you are looking through the collected documents on the table, are you not?
Yes, I believe this is prime study time. I am deep in analysis of what the heck is
Now,
going on.
what I'm going to say is that for these gather information roles, there are multiple layers of information you can get. You can get these either by paying for enhanced effect on your rolls, or by performing the research more than once, or on a critical success. But there's usually more than one layer of information going on, and so that you don't waste any time, I will tell you when your character is confident that they have exhausted this particular line of inquiry.
Lovely, thank you. That being said, I think I'm going to throw myself into... Well, actually, I know it's just flavor-wise, but Mr. Spider is not going to sort of panically throw himself into anything. He will stand and look at the desk before he starts moving anything to try and get an overview, and then he will begin very methodically trying to work backwards through the process of what the papers say or do.
Well, the impression that you get initially is that there's obviously these books have been opened for reference, and you can see a lot of loose sheets of paper, and some of these are arrayed up with the books. They seem to be rather older, but you can also see a tablet of letter paper in which notes have been scribbled. You can see that's probably recent, since there's a pen next to it, and you can see that the handwriting on these is not very careful at all. They're very crude drawings and so forth.
I'm going to read through the notes. I'm going to try and read the most recent ones.
Then let's make a roll of some kind.
I believe that would be a study.
That will be a study, yes. Yeah. Would you like to make the roll normally? Do you want to enhance it in some way?
I would like to, I think, spend stress on the roll. I think
you can push yourself.
Yeah, I think in this instance I'm going to push myself.
You're going to push
because
you're going to
have an obvious time limit.
For an extra die or for enhanced effect?
I think for enhanced effect.
Okay.
Position control?
Yep, controlled stand, controlled enhanced, whatever it's called on Roll20.
I think it's great.
Yeah, great effect.
No bonus dice.
6.
Oh.
Okay, 6 with great effect. So, starting with the notes that he has written most presently, since they're obviously the distillations of his, his most recent thoughts on the subject. You know that his intention was to induce a kind of sleep not deep enough to fall beyond dreaming, so sort of a semi-shallow sleep where he's still somewhat conscious. He fears that the Reverie Beast will either try to wake him up or take over his mind, so he has performed a rite that he calls Sorgren's 15th Method, to ensure that he can do effective battle against the beast. But he notes in a paragraph to the side that he's been he look what looks like almost budget calculations, but it's actually him weighing up the pros and cons of performing something called Sorgren's 16th Method. And he determines that while it would make him much more effective in combat against the Reverie Beast, it would only be worth doing so if he'd actually bothered to get anyone else to help him. Otherwise, it's too expensive and time-consuming. That is pretty much everything you're going to get from Cramer's notes, but there are still other books upon this table to consult if you wish to do so. By the time this is sorted, this is about the time when Mr. Hound will appear with a somewhat harassed-looking but soothed by 1 coin is the cost that he charges, which you may have either paid yourself or get someone else to, but that is the cost for this consultation. And you show up with your client, whose discretion having been assured reacts to the strange scene merely with, "Oh my."
What have we learned since I've been away?
He's formed some sort of right upon himself.
I think they use these syringes and this liquid to get into that state.
Yes. Their intention was to induce a state of sleep with dreams. Nothing too deep, nothing too shallow, and they did not wish to be awoken.
I'll kind of look expectantly to Dr. Richmond and kind of gesture to the room at large as if to say, off you go, do a doctor.
He is already stridden over, stethoscope in hand. Yes. Oh dear. He says "oh dear" several times when examining both men. Well, your friends here. They are alive, if that was your concern, but I do not believe they will be for long. They do not show any of the usual signs of what I would consider to be a morphine overdose. They may have used it to induce sleep, but something else has weakened their hearts that I've yet to determine. Have you found signs of any other substances?
Just this. And I
see.
gesture the box toward him.
He holds it up to the light. Viscosity is correct. Translucency is correct. I would say it was very pure. A little bit on the tip of his finger. Numb as expected. There's no corruption that I can detect in this, though I have no means to perform a chemical test upon it. These markings on the face I cannot explain, but I will simply put that down to something that is not for me to comment on. I would say that medically I cannot explain what is happening to them, except that their heart rates tell me that they will not be long for this world if they're not woken up soon.
Okay.
Do you wish me to attempt to awaken them?
Not at this stage. If I could ask you to wait for but a moment or two whilst we conduct further experimentation and investigation of this area, and then we'll be able to give you a steer from that point.
I shall avail myself of the liquor cabinet.
Wonderful.
I want to... Where is what is her name? I wrote it down. Mrs. Beeman. Where is she at while all of this is going on?
Mrs. Beeman has bustled off to the kitchen to make some tea for you all.
I would like to go chat with her.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll ask her, oh gosh, I don't even know how to phrase this. When he goes into this state, does he often just wake up on his own, or do you have like a method to waking him up, or how does this normally go?
Well, first of all, he's not really in the habit of being in this state. He has all sorts of strange dealings with all sorts of strange things, and I try to stay out of the way, but I must confess that it'll be that woman. She's put him up to this, I'll reckon. Not that I should speak ill of any associate of the professor's, mind you, but woman has her opinions.
That she does. So he normally just... So you said that he doesn't make a habit of doing this. Have you ever seen him like this before? Or is this the first time he's done this?
I've seen him do all sorts of strange things which aren't really my business. He's always in those odd books and he goes to odd meetings and such, but no, I've never seen him bring a young man to his flat and whatever this is, no.
All right. Well, thank you for your help. We're trying to make sure that he survives this.
Well, I'm glad you showed up when you did. Thanks for bringing a doctor. I'll bring out some tea, and I don't have much for sandwiches. I made a seed cake earlier. Is that enough? Don't really have enough for a supper.
Don't worry yourself too much. We'll handle the tough stuff. You just keep the house.
Yes. Well, if you need anything, I'll be here. Out of the way, of course.
Just tip my hat, milady, and head out. I'm not actually going to say milady.
All right.
No, it's okay to do it now.
Milady.
It's bad to do it in present day.
He does it. She assumes
They'll
it's...
probably just say ma'am rather than milady.
Yeah, if he said milady, she'd probably take that as sarcasm and throw a tea towel at him. Okay, so the doctor is availing himself of the fine collection of spirits that the professor has amassed, and
Perfect.
decidedly not paying close attention to anything else that you're all doing. What's your next line of inquiry?
I'm inclined to do a bit of a sweep of the exterior and interior of the building and the mind of they are anticipating a creature coming here and they've shown signs of warding, at least on themselves, and maybe there's signs elsewhere. So I would like to survey, if I may.
Yeah, and you're doing a survey of the premises in a perimeter sense.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Can I help him in that?
You can help him in that. You could do a group survey, or you can do a group survey, and then that might get you extra information that one person on their own couldn't get. So the way that works is that one of you performs, you both make the roll, but one of you leads the action, and may have to pay stress if there are failures involved. But the upside is you might get more info.
Also, I remembered after having made my first roll that I am tired, and so I have less effect. So we need to make sure to take that into account.
I'd also like to, ahead of this, I'd like to flashback.
What did you do?
I think that on my way to Dr. Durant's at a full sprint, the kind of which only a underworld street thug might be able to do, with much vaulting of fences and sharp rounding of corners, I made my way back to the Aventine, and I have snatched up the orb to accompany me in this moment?
You've contemplated your orb.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
I
Okay. Good. We love to
How
see
much
the
stress
orb.
does a flashback cost?
So I'm going to it costs a variable amount of stress. I'm going to make this one cost no stress because it's not clear to me, like, you're not trying to achieve some miracle. You've gone back to get something that's easy to get. I have no idea what you intend with it, so no stress. And also because the orb's trouble, so undoubtedly the cost will be paid later. Yeah, no, you can have swiped the orb. Swiped the orb. It's in the Millennium Club for you to access. Yeah, you've brought the orb.
Now, in order to gain its bonus on the survey, I will need to successfully attune to it.
That makes sense to me. Yes.
So I think first I need to make an attune roll, which is just one solitary dice.
However, you can have a bonus die if you like, and all you have to do to get that bonus die is for me to add another segment on the clock called "You See It."
I will take that.
Oh, perfect. Then, in which case, you may have your bonus die to your attune roll.
Thank you. Is this a controlled roll?
This is a risky roll.
Risky standard.
Yep.
Bonus. A 1 and a 2.
A 2. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so you have brought the orb. What does your attuning to the orb look like? How does Mr. Hound do this?
It's contemplated.
You are gazing into
pondering,
it.
One might say.
Crystal ball
He sits
wise.
in a giant chair.
Blue lighting. No, I think, especially because it's Hound, and Hound's relationship with the supernatural is very much almost he's ashamed of it.
Yeah.
It's like concealed within the folds of a jacket. Like he's stooping over it, trying to hide it from people as he's staring into it, whispering, but he doesn't realize he's whispering or what he's whispering.
Okay. So I think what's going to happen is you can see that. You can see for a moment the orb is generally quite still. There's nothing in it that's churning or moving, though there is this cloudy impression within it. And for a moment, you do see the clouds shifting and broiling, but this effect does not clarify. And in fact, this fog within the orb begins to impinge upon your own vision. I am going to inflict upon you level 2 harm, halfway blind, which of course you may attempt to resist if you wish.
Yeah, I'd love to resist that.
In which case, I think you're probably resisting this with resolve. Yeah, so
Sure. I have no die in resolve, so it's just
you have
just
what
a
you
1d.
you should have 1 die in resolve
Oh, no, you're right. I do. Yeah.
from your attune that got you into this mess. So you roll a 2. Okay, so you spend 4 stress, and you have reduced the harm. So that's level 1 harm, and I'm just going to call it blurred vision.
I'll take that.
So that's going to...
Oh. I was typing it and then it appeared on my sheet. That's incredible.
Terrifying. Blurred vision. So as I speak, I command. So that's less effect on anything that particularly requires good clear eyesight. And yeah, it's I mean, you're a glasses wearer, so it's essentially the equivalent to losing your glasses. And all that entails. I don't know how strong your prescription is, but for me, that's kind of a little, at most, it's a little disorienting as well. So yes, good. The orb doesn't resist your contemplations for the time being.
This is all kind of done around a corner, and I imagine the kind of flare of it that causes that flinch away occurs just before Mr. Lurk rounds the corner. He kind of awkwardly stashes it into an interior pocket and says, "Right, on we go."
Alright.
Okay. So you're going to do a group survey. So which of the two of you is going to lead it?
Do we want the half-blind person or the incredibly sleepy person?
Excellent. yeah.
I think you should lead now.
Oh gosh. Alright.
It's
Alright.
looking actually at Mr. Hound's stress meter. That's not a bad idea. So you both roll survey. There is a minor help from Bowman.
Wonderful.
What I'm going to do with this minor help, for I am a merciful lord, is I am going to raise the effect from reduced effect to standard effect for you.
So is this controlled or risky?
This is controlled, and yeah, this is Bowman's orb that you are contemplating. Bowman, many moons ago, many years, many decades ago, we had a fundraiser, and we had some of our lovely audience members told me what some of these eldritch items were, and one of the eldritch items that I was told what it was the orb. So it's wonderful to see it prominent. Okay, fantastic. So that's a 6 from Mr. Hound and a 3 from Mr. Lurk. So Mr. Lurk, as the leader of the group roll, you pay 1 single stress to compensate for the 1 failure, but that means that everyone gets that 6.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So that's a 6 at standard effect. So what you actually notice is you can see that as you begin your survey, you step out of the door to the study, and you can actually see fading out of visibility on the door frame are a series of strange symbols that have been painted all along it. Why they are vanishing now, it's not clear. Perhaps the orb caused them some distress, but they are fading. They're very complicated. I think it's obvious to you both, although neither of you are particularly versed in esoteric symbols, but it is clear just from an aesthetic level that these symbols are not all from one. Stop blurring me. They're not all from one set. It's obvious that they are all from different alphabets, different traditions, and so on. You take a look around. You cannot. It's blurring me. You cannot. None of them at the glance. You don't have long to evaluate them, but certainly you've got long enough to give it a quick once over. None of them match the distinctive symbols painted upon the men's faces. You are fairly confident. I'm not going to say you don't see it. You are fairly confident because you surveyed pretty thoroughly. You are fairly confident that there's no other visible preparations made for warding or defense.
And nothing on the outside of the building either?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to move the out of time clock up 1. Mr. Spider, while your compatriots are surveying the scene for signs of defense, what are you about?
I will be looking at the books.
Okay, so I am going to break this into... I'm going to break this... There are 3 lines of inquiry, I think, that are... There are 3 lines of inquiry I have written answers to. So there are... you could research in there's an eldritch bestiary where you can research what a Reverie Beast is, or you can research how to battle a Reverie Beast, or you can look in the Book of Rituals and find out what Sorgren's methods are. Obviously you'll be able to do all of these if you have the time, but which one do you start with?
I want to do all of them, right now. But Mr. Spider, knowing that time is limited, is going to look at how to combat a Reverie Beast.
All right. So that's make a roll for that, and as before, you may choose to enhance the effect, or hope for crit, or just plan to do further research as a separate roll. But it's up to you.
I think I'm going to enhance effect again.
So you're going to spend 2 stress to push yourself.
Yep.
Excellent, and you'll get greater effect on that. Do you get anything else when you push yourself? No. No. Okay. Okay. Study. You have rolled a 5.
That's pretty good.
You've rolled a 5 at great effect. Okay. So I think that I am going to... the consequence is going to be that it takes a fair bit of reading, so I'm actually going to move the out of time clock up to its 3rd segment. But you did succeed and you did do it at great effect, so I'm going to give you all of the available information from this roll. Based on a combination of the notes that the professor has made about this specific circumstance and reference to the bestiary, the current belief from the only expert available presently to consult is that this is a larval Reverie Beast. It will evade detection if it's being hunted. If cornered, it will be vicious and aggressive, but not necessarily difficult to defeat. It's battled with the imaginative powers of those who seek to destroy it. But if the larva is in an advanced stage, it will be able to marshal the dreams and deepest nature of the host against its attackers, likely taking the form of something that's particularly terrifying to the host, a phobia perhaps, or some deep childhood trauma. Reverie Beasts in a larval stage with particularly mentally potent hosts, which you have reason to believe this is because of what Madame Constantine told you, may have more than the low cunning, what the book calls the low cunning of a parasite. The greatest weapon against a Reverie Beast is anything unpredictable, a non sequitur of some kind, because it's a creature of patterns. It has to slowly carve a path for itself through the psychic realm of a mind, and it's not capable of sudden changes to its behavior. It's not capable of adapting quickly to unexpected events.
Mr. Spider feels a strange kinship with the Reverie Beast.
We shall adopt it like we did Amelia and also everything else.
Amelia, I've brought you a friend. Superb, wonderful. He's fascinated by this. He is, probably the reason it took him a bit longer is because he is almost certainly very wrapped up in his reading, because this is absolutely fascinating. So they find him surrounded by books and his own notes, and he's, you know.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Spider is the Reverie Beast. Maybe when he slumbers, that's him. Okay, so
Good thing he's on the cocaine.
that takes you long enough easily that by the time you're done, Lurk and Hound have returned to the study, so you can feel free to conference on your next priorities.
Gentlemen, this creature is fascinating. I know that we discussed an overwhelming desire not to pry deeply into one another's personal lives and personalities beyond our personas. But I must ask you this now. Do either of you possess any phobias or great fears?
I know we've agreed not to make things personal, but give me a list of your fears.
Great ones. Those that are potentially debilitating.
I hate snakes.
Understandable.
My fears
Mr.
are
Lurk is
somewhat-
literally just Indiana Jones.
Mine are somewhat more esoteric and metaphysical, if I might be so honest.
Understandable.
I don't. If it is to wield nightmares and fears against us, I don't know how it can bring about poverty as a menace to me.
Poverty is a metaphorical snake.
Then snakes.
But it's a snake with the word poverty scribbled on its side.
But if it's
And the
anything
Statue
like
of
the
Liberty wears a sash that says the Rutherford Act. Is there a Rutherford Act? There could be. It sounds real.
If it's anything like the cartoons I have read about in the newspaper. Yes, so Mr. Spider makes a mental note of that and will confirm the things that he has studied. Like, yes, should we have to face this thing, our fears may almost certainly be used against us. But we are men of strong mind,
And then Mr. Spider shares his fears, which are...
Mr. Spider looks at the other two. If they're looking at him expectantly, like, it's sharing time.
Certainly, Mr. Hound has found something else to occupy his attention. He is a very not in the moment type of person.
It's okay. I know what Mr. Spider fears. It's a romantically forward woman. That's the ghast that haunts Mr. Spider's dreams. So that will be easy to manifest.
Do you know what? Do you know the really unpleasant thing about living with the love of your life for close to a decade is that eventually he just knows everything about your characters without even needing to ask, and he sees all your tricks and patterns, and you yourself are a Reverie Beast of roleplay, and he can go, oh yeah, because of these 3 previous characters, here's what this one's about, and I can go, well, you're not wrong. And
Yeah.
and I'm angry. I'm angry about this.
Good.
In a similar vein,
Use it.
Mr. Lurk is very afraid of losing his wife, but he is not going to share that with his compatriots.
Yeah, for the
Good.
same reason. For the same reason that that Bowman says he's afraid of spiders. That would be very awkward. Can't stand them. I wish she hadn't called me this.
Ooh,
The
we
mere
have a
mention.
a minor hinder has been redeemed.
No.
I'm going to.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, we love
Potato,
that.
potato, I shall come upstairs and I shall punch you in the arm.
That's fantastic.
But no, Mr. Spider, in the similar metaphysical, metaphorical ways of the ongoing effects of poverty affect Mr. Hound, he obviously fears things like being out of control and not being in his own mind. And I imagine the thing he is not saying is that he fears madness and insanity and not being able to trust his own brain, which is why the Reverie Beast is actually quite frightening to him as a concept.
I think if Mr. Lurk has a metaphysical fear, if we're all sharing our metaphysical fears, I think it would be hurting the people that he loves, or like hurting good people. That is what he is afraid of.
Chime off in the comments. What are your metaphysical fears?
Being utterly
excellent.
candid, I appreciate
my
this.
God.
We want to move on. Hound has kept his actual fear back, which is he's a very bad person that does bad things to try and help an orphanage. Like the idea that is for nothing, all that the methods by which he is able to help are found out and disgrace him, are more of a fear, but he has not volunteered that.
No. No one's making note of it, so that's okay. Great. So, sharing time. That's lovely and very useful. So So, what is your next? Do you have everything you need? Are you ready to begin?
Given that there is
I know the answer is no. I'm just being a troll.
okay, Mr. Spider, what else is there in the room? We have the library. Is that where I am? The library with the books, or is that
You're
still
all
the
you're
desk?
all in the study. This whole scene is taking place in the study where the two men lie in a sleep-like death. Not the sleep-like death that Mr. Lurk recently experienced. The one he's still recovering from.
Listen, we don't
Miss-
need to bring that up.
Yeah. That was 2 sessions ago, Lucas. God. Yes, you're all in study. There are numerous gewgaws decorating the shelves and such. As I say, there's library shelves. There's a table. It's not a desk. There's a table. The table's where he's been doing his own ritual preparation and research.
Mr. Spider is going to glance at the others and go back to the books because he still knows he has things to find. But he shall say, there may yet be something that this room has to offer up to us. But I believe
Okay.
whatever it is, our mental fortitude will be paramount in our.
So, Mr. Spider, you're returning to the table of where the studies are taking place. Are you going to research the nature of a Reverie Beast, or are you going to research Sorgren's ritual methods?
Sorgren's ritual methods.
Okay, as usual, you have the chance to you can research you've got 2 methods that you can research. The method he used, the 15th method, or the method he rejected, the 16th method. If you ask for methods other than that, we will have to take a 10-minute break.
Bring me that 17th method.
Be considerate. I want to research the 69th method. Nice, but no. That's more in the tantric books on the shelf.
No.
But yes, you can research them both in one go. Obviously, they're adjacent to each other in the book. You do it as separate roles, etc. Obviously, if you do it all in one go and you want them both, you're going to have to give me. You have to spend 2 stress again, and I know that that's not a resource you want to splash around too much.
No.
But it's up to you to weigh the value of your time and stress.
How much time is left on the clock?
You're on 3 segments presently out of 8.
Okay. I think he's just going to study as is.
There's some discussion going on in the live chat right now. For those watching the VOD later, about the metaphysical horror of the existence of divine beings, a proposal has been put that perhaps Job would suggest that God was a member of the Hinderkinder. I would like to suggest, in the book of Job, God is the GM. The devil is someone who has spent a major hinder. Because what actually happens is the devil goes, hey God, fuck this guy up. And God goes, well, you've given me $50. I'm going to do it. It's going to. Speaking of which, if you really want to mess these guys up, you can send us $50, and we have to do it. So donation links are below the stream screen right now. Think about it. We love it. We stand a hindering hero.
You can also help us. You can You
The
could be the Jesus of the aid brigade.
Rumors
and give us $50.
Rumors that you can spend $50 to also help are unsubstantiated. They're true, but you shouldn't buy into them. You should definitely buy into inflicting terror.
Did not
Um,
Jesus, by sacrificing himself for humanity, do the ultimate
Wow.
aid?
And so somehow The Gentleman Strangers has become an awkward Christian propaganda film. That's my existential horror.
Mr. Spider becoming a youth pastor was really not the arc that I was
Oh.
anticipating for his character.
I nearly flipped the laptop and
A Bowman is actually technically correct, by the way, to help me understand the notifications that come in and to price you out of hindering. Actually, technically, a hinder is 1 cent more expensive than a help. But if you only said $50 and said hinder, that would be fine. Because, you know, it's a cent. I don't even think that's a cent is worth less than a penny. I can't even comprehend a penny, let alone a cent. It might not be now. I don't know what disaster our economy's in. A pound was almost worth $1 not long ago, and it was a moment of heart-wrenching dread for everyone. Anyway, so Mr. Spider, Sorgren's Ritual Methods is
Yes.
quite a weighty tome. Are
Wow.
you going to research them one at a time, or are you going to try to speed read them both? It's entirely up to you.
I think speed reading is the thing for now because I need
Yep.
to get that information into my brains.
Okay. In which case, you are going to have to push yourself for great effect.
Ah, no. Okay. It's fine. I will. I'm just gonna be real stressed.
You are going to be real stressed.
Yeah.
Did you just roll?
No, I haven't rolled yet.
Oh right, sorry, I muted the tab, so I can't. I realised the sound of Roll20 going whoop shows up on stream as well, so I've had to mute that.
Well, that's how people know that we're doing things.
Mr. Rich GM doesn't know the value of a penny. It's 1 apple, Michael. What could it cost? $20? Okay, Mr. Spider, you have rolled a 4, so
Success?
it's a success. So the price for this, I think, is fairly obvious. I'm going to make it take a while to get. So we're going to push the out of time clock halfway. It is now at 4 segments out of 8. However, you have successfully, with consultation both on the notes that have been written and on the book itself. The ritual that Cramer's performed is relatively straightforward, but the mechanics of it elude you, and you have to trust it to work through replication. Like you have no frame of reference for how these rituals work. You're just essentially going to be pressing go on an app. That's the equivalent of what you're going to be doing. It's like cooking from a recipe you've never tried before. Its purpose is to join your senses to another person's mind and hold your sense of self together. The instructions include how to apply it to multiple people at once. Using this ritual entails purchasing some strong hypnotic drugs, the consumption of which is the last stage of the rite. When you're within the mindscape, in theory, you'll have access to if you can imagine yourself holding your pistol or your sword cane or whatever, there it will be in your hand. So essentially, you'll be able to go in fully equipped. The 16th method, the one that Cramer rated as superior, but not the sausage not worth the sizzle. This one will unlock further abilities. This will allow your dream self to perform extraordinary feats and ordinary feats at heightened skill. If successful, it would also mean that you interpret from Cramer's notes, one of the advantages he lists of going for the 16th method is the Reverie Beast would be much less likely to sense that there are intruders hunting it. But one of the reasons that stopped Cramer from going for the 16th method is that because in addition to procuring the hypnotic drugs, you also have to procure certain rare resins to burn to incite an altered state of consciousness. As well as increased cost, the ritual entails increased risk, not worth, in his opinion, one person alone doing it, such that returning to wakefulness could leave lingering effects on the psyche for some time. So, in his view, not worth doing. It's up to you three to decide whether you want to go for that. But you will gain enhanced abilities should you decide to. but the 15th method is absolutely safe, and if successfully performed, will insert you into the mindscape with your usual gear and abilities. Including, I've got to imagine, the ability to do flashbacks, but because it's in a mindscape, it's all happening at the same time. You just instantly transition to a scene in the past where you did the thing, and you're all just standing there watching it happen. I think that's got to be how that works. So
while
yep.
sorry, go on.
No, I was about to say while, so yeah.
While Mr. Spider is doing this, I would actually like to see if I can look through the books on the table to try and get a sense of what it's like to be in the like mind space. Preferably if there's like pictures, given that Mr. Hound is or Mr. Lurk is not the smartest of cookies in the box.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay.
Just to get a sense of like what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, the environment.
Okay, I have an idea for this. So yeah, what would you like to roll for this?
It feels like I mean, it is a survey. He is trying to get a sense of what the space is going to be. I mean, you could make the argument for like study, I guess, but since I have no pips in that,
survey is more for if you're actually there.
Yeah.
So you can do survey. I'll let you do survey, but it'll be at lesser effect because what it essentially constitutes skimming.
Yeah.
The documents. It's up to you.
I already have less effect. That's the thing that sucks.
Oh, you do, don't you? And I have a minor hinder I haven't cast in yet. I won't do that. You'd basically just not get. You've become illiterate. You have no understanding of what's going. No, I won't cash that in. I'm saving that.
Yeah, I think study is probably the more sensible.
So let me see. So your choices are it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's
a mental prowl.
Yeah, you have a die of survey for lesser effect, and you could optionally push yourself to bring the effect back to normal, or you have 0 dice in study, and you could push yourself to turn that into 1 die at standard effect. So I guess that's a difficult thing. You could...
I think if I have to push myself either way, I think I would rather get the extra die rather than the increased effect.
Okay, fine. So you're gonna push yourself on a study.
Yes.
Okay, understood.
And is this still controlled?
Yes.
Okay, effect. Now, effect, it is limited because I'm tired.
Yes, that's right.
But I get an extra die because I'm pushing myself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, could I offer you a devil's bargain? Let me think. Let me see if I can get you an extra die. No, you don't. You can't push yourself onto a bargain. Can anyone meaningfully assist you? Mr. Hound could assist you unless he has another plan. Although then again, he doesn't have much stress to spend.
I'm happy to spend stress.
Blind.
I'm a little blind.
Okay, so your mind reaching the point of intense trauma and your vision still fogged from contemplating your orb, the heroic Mr. Hound goes, no, I'm going to help. So you can get another die, and Mr. Hound merely spends 1 single stress to aid you.
All right.
There we go. That's well, yeah.
So 2 bonus dice. Here we go.
A 5. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 is going to be the consequence for that is just going to be that it's just going to take some time to, because I mean there is a hinder. I'm not cashing it in yet. Oh, there's another hinder. Oh, I've now got 2 hinders. Well, obviously interiority is hindered. I mean that obviously. I don't even know if interiority knows where the help button is, or wouldn't care if you did. Okay, so that's going to take a lot of time. And the reason it's going to take a lot of time is when you said that you wanted to do this, I thought, oh, how are you going to do that? And I thought, I know the kind of meticulous mind that Professor, that's actually Cornwallis, that's wrong. What's his name? Cramer is that he knows about Reverie Beasts. I think he's written a page of notes where he has written himself almost like a set of instructions to focus on, which is try to imagine such and such a scene. Try to focus on the way some people try to do lucid dreaming. Focus on a particular thing, and when you see that, it will wake you up. That kind of thing. So you discover that, assuming that the professor has been successful in imagining what he wishes to, you can imagine a rural landscape, not an urban one. You can imagine a sort. He wants to evoke an image from Arthurian legend. So he wants to encounter noble knights and white stone castles and fair maidens and all that sort of thing, because that's a literary paradigm he seems to like and wants to role play in. And I suspect he also wants to be wielding a magic sword against the
Who
against the
doesn't?
monster. He should have probably performed the 16th method if he wanted that. But yeah, he's been, all of the descriptions are, he's not an author, and you can tell that he's not really evoking the most majestic imagery, but you can see that he's trying his best to describe a sort of Camelot-esque rural scene. A questing beast. Yeah, a questing beast, absolutely. Yeah, he's writing T.H. White fanfic, like really short T.H. White drabble. So yeah, that's what you can expect when you go there. I don't know if that's a literary paradigm, literary trope that Mr. Lurk is particularly familiar or fond with, but there we go.
Probably. I feel like that was, knights in shining armor. I feel like is a trope that existed.
Well, I
in the
guess
US.
I guess it's Mallory Drabble, not T.H. White Drabble. It's only 1890 something, isn't it? So it's more Darthur fanfic.
Oh, it is the Connecticut Yankee at King Arthur's Court. Oh, it is.
Oh my god, yes. Oh no. Mind blowing. Right, perfect.
We
That's
just need
really
an
good.
excuse for Mr. Lurk to be able to go, "Milady."
So, to fill in people who aren't looking at the clocks or can't see the clock, I've neglectfully not been updating it in Roll20. But I told you were halfway. You are now at 5 segments out of 8. So, your choices as follows. You can continue your research. There are still things to read. You do not yet know, for example, what the nature of a Reverie Beast is, and it's up to you to decide whether that will be helpful to you. Then there is, of course, preparing for the ritual. Deciding which ritual you're going to perform and preparing for it will also take some time. So I will leave it to the 3 of you to decide what you want to do with your last bit of time. I think that the time pressure you have is informed by the doctor checking and saying they are still here, but their hearts are slowing.
What Mr. Spider shall be doing is, as he has done the research into both of the potential rituals, he's been expressing this out loud, likely to Mr. Hound, who's, around. He is present. And will say, these are our options, but time is dwindling. And then we'll we'll make him the arbiter of what is physically possible based on what we have in the room and what resources we have before he throws himself into his final phase of research, which is the nature of a Reverie Beast.
I think for
Oh, yeah,
flavor,
of course, yeah.
Hound has been doing a lot of checking his rifles, under the impression that there is a very physical beast that's going to be showing up that we must fight. And, I've fought monsters before and they just need shots. And the idea that there's a metaphysical component to this does kind of. He stops loading a rifle mid inserting a round and kind of pauses and contemplates that for a moment. And then we'll say, so you go.
No, you say, because I've got a thing.
Well, then we're going in, aren't we?
No. Of course we're going in. Continue with what you are doing, for you must be at your most confident with your equipment, for it's only your mind you will be able to trust when you are in there. So load, clean, and prepare as you would normally, because the knowledge of having done that, I think, shall sustain you in the dreamscape.
Right you are. I'm going to start dismantling, cleaning.
So, Mr. Spider, so your plan is to acquire what you need for whatever ritual you want to perform, and then while the prep is occurring, you're going to carry on researching. Is that how I understand? Okay, fine. Okay, yeah.
So basically making Mr. Hound the person in charge of practicality, while he is in charge of reading stuff.
If all goes to plan, you in theory have time for even the more complicated ritual. But of course, that is all dependent upon factors such as not failing at rolls, which is out of anyone's control. But in theory, you have time, but you must decide whether it's worth gambling with that time, and that's the three of you to figure out. While I drink this beverage.
You can't drink that beverage without showing us the face on the cup of the beverage that you're drinking.
There's a face on the. Oh.
He's a
Is it just a little ghost?
Yeah, yeah. My friend got these spooky Halloween glasses with all different faces, and mine's these angry ghost. Boo!
Yeah, there are 4 of them, and there are 4 of us, and so all of the different faces are like, or grumpy, and the one that's for me is just
a happy ghost.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
What benefit do we get from the more complicated ritual?
We are more powerful in the dreamscape, I believe.
We become superheroes.
Our ability to combat the Reverie Beast will be greatly enhanced. I would be keen to aim for this, but also not at the risk of being unable to perform the primary ritual. You must liaise with your doctor, find out how much time we have, what we have available, and let me know as soon as possible.
Yeah. I think we're settled, yeah. Bigger ritual.
Right.
Cleaner guns.
So, to perform the bigger ritual, you will require. You're going to need to find a source for a drug called paraldehyde. That shouldn't be too difficult, particularly since you have a dodgy doctor in the room with you right now who might well know where to get some. You need to spare a coin's worth of that for all 3 of you. You are going to need to spend 2 coins worth getting a resin called gum pelagic, which is a psychoactive resin that induces states of enhanced empathy and emotional openness, the 2 things Mr. Spider fears the most. Those things in combination, that the resin burns while the ritual is performed, and the drug is ingested. Can be administered orally, which is one of its advantages, as the last stage of the ritual, and then you go under, and you paint your faces with various marks, as the 2 men have done here. So it's going to take a couple of setup actions to get it sorted, and it's of course thrice as expensive. Because if you want to perform a simple ritual, the only thing you need to spend money on is a coin's worth of paraldehyde. That's up to you.
Do we have that amount of money? Look at Mr. Spider at this point. My own pockets outturned, moths cartoonishly glittering out of them.
I haven't got the crew
Of the-
form open.
the crew. I'm sure
2 coin in the crew one.
there are 2 coin in the crew strongbox. Yes.
So how much will it cost for all of us for the bigger one?
For the enhanced ritual, 3 coin total.
I have but 1 more coin in my personal stash, which
I
can't
have
for life-
no money.
Well, then, I guess if that is what we're going to do, I'm going to fish out the last fistful of cash that I have, start counting it from tuppence to bit, and then offer it to the doctor to procure us the aforementioned drug.
Now, before you do this, Mike, are you talking about your stash?
I'm talking about my stash, yeah.
Now, I would caution you. Well, actually, first of all, you can't do that. And whoa! Don't tell me what you can't do that because this. So, fishing money out of stash is normally a bad idea, but to get 1 coin out of your stash, you have to spend 2 stash. Because when you put coin into your stash, you are essentially turning it into chattels and so forth, or at high levels you're turning it into stocks and shares and property and whatnot. Every time your stash bar fills up and you see these boxes far to the right of your stash meter, that's your living quality when you retire from this life. Zero means you're all technically destitute. So taking out of your stash is normally for emergency. It also takes time to do that. So you would need 2 coin in your stash to do that, and it takes time. Now, I'm not saying you cannot do it, but when I looked, I think you only have 1.
Not knowing the rules, I had taken a coin out of stash earlier taken a stash out earlier to pay the doctor, but I've returned that, and I imagine we're just going to have to work on an IOU 1 coin to my doctor compatriot.
Well, you are expecting to perhaps be able to get some of your expenses covered by Miss Constantine. She has commissioned you for this. You're taking care of this matter for her as your payment for her translating the inscription on the door. So
If the 3 of us are sort of like openly worrying about money, I think that Mr. Lurk is going to ask, how important is it that we do this bigger ritual? How vital is this?
Well, there are 3 of us, and clearly the doctor thought he could succeed alone with the basic ritual, which means with the 3 of us and the basic ritual, we should be able to succeed, perhaps where he is potentially failing.
Except, of course, that this is a fight. Mr. Spider, are you any better equipped than a professor of esoteric knowledge to fight a Reverie Beast? Remember that with only the first ritual, you have no particular combat prowess. With the second ritual, you can become a machine gun wielding super elephant. Well, I don't know about that, but you can certainly.
Much as I have always wished to be a machine gun wielding super elephant.
Right?
What I'm saying is that it is not impossible should we have to use the basic ritual.
True.
It will be harder.
I am not against a challenge, but I am beyond any kind of fiscal help at this stage. I will have to go with whatever we are able to amass.
Just a moment. Hand me my jacket.
I hand him his jacket.
I'm leaving. Good day.
Mr. Spider is sat surrounded by books, and he's just like, jacket.
Go and
He'll
get it.
He'll reach into his pocketbook and pull out a fistful of 5s or something, and will spend his last coin, which is 1 coin. Sir, Here's what you need.
I take it that's going to the doctor.
I will go with the doctor to help expedite. Since we have to get 2 different things, I figure we can each get one
Yep.
of them.
Okay. So yeah, one of you can go with the doctor to get one of his suppliers to give you some paraldehyde.
You only have 1 coin in your stash.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah, he has to. He'd taken one out earlier and had returned it because the laws of physics caught up with him.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing to Mr. Spider, whose ridiculous sized stash is not helping in the slightest at the moment.
Hope in future, Mr. Spider.
That's true.
Listen, I thought that Mr. Lurk was gonna have to go home and like sell one of his fancy pairs of shoes that he's never worn, but he might wear on, some occasion, maybe.
So another thing about your stash. I talked about those 4 boxes on the right that fill up every time you've put 10 coin in your stash. They are actually a thing you can roll. So let's say there's something where money would help expedite it. At the moment, the smallest unit of money is 1 coin, which is fairly significant amount of money. When you have stash, you can roll that instead, and if you succeed, you just have some cash on hand that is less than a coin, but enough to get the job done. And you don't have to spend anything on it. So investing in stash is a way to save coin for smaller things down the line. At the moment, you're like, well, I'd love to bribe you, but all I've got is this bunch of 50s I got from the bank. That'll do. Whereas what you really think you ought to have handed over is just a tenner, but there's no way of doing that. It represents you being sufficiently swaggericious that you always have a $5 in your wallet. So, the doctor is perfectly happy to take an IOU from Mr. Hound, because you are, of course, ongoing acquaintances, and I'm sure there are. And after all, Mr. Hound, if whatever it is you're doing here goes wrong, I'm sure you'll be able to provide him some form of payment.
There's your payment.
You can cart us all out of here and do what you like. Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah, there are all you one of you is going to presumably go to the Millennium Club to get some coin out of the last 2 coin out of the Gentleman Stranger's lockbox. I'm going to say it's probably. Yeah, I think your best source of information is probably Mr. Hyde. I just want to get some weird hallucinogenic incense. Like, what kind of shop would you use for that? And actually, his first answer is, well, if you'd asked me a year ago, I'd have started with Sydney Weller, but he died. He went missing. So, but I hear someone's taken up his shop. And so I think it's Mr. Hound, isn't it, who's on this case. So Mr. Hound, you end up revisiting the scene of Sydney Weller's esoterica shop, where Mr. Cutter committed his first murder. Innocent, and where you acquired the orb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The orb whispers in your coat. Yes, stick me on.
And you're able to procure you get you say on Gunpelagic, I need enough to sort of to make sure it works on 3 people, and it does indeed cost you 2 coin, and you get about a teaspoonful of this stuff. And it looks like a ridiculously small amount, but the lady who's running the shop assures you really don't want much more than that, unless it's a very large room and it's exceedingly well ventilated. You might want to tell Mrs. Beeman to get behind a closed door. So Mr. Spider, while Mr. Lurk and Mr. Hound are acquiring their either technically illicit or possibly should be illicit, and certainly esoteric substances, you are returning to your books. So, at minimum, these actions are going to add a segment to the clock. So I'm going to add that segment now. You've got 2 segments left. So Mr. Spider, whether it takes another segment will be dependent upon the degree of your success researching the nature of a Reverie Beast.
Yes. So, given what we have so far, Mr. Spider is prepared. He organized the books in order that, if for some reason the clock ticks on and ticks on, we have to stop. He will, because this is important to him, but it's not necessary for the completion of the task. Unless it is. So he is going to be reading. He's going to be reading. He's going to be throwing himself into it, but he is not keen on adding too many more segments to the clock, because once we're all together and ready to go, he's ready to go.
Okay. So you are researching the nature of a Reverie Beast.
Mm-hmm.
How deep are you doing this research?
I think it's going to be one of those things whereby he, having researched the ritual and how one fights one, which has given him some premise of a Reverie Beast, he is going to be basically skimming for keywords. Then he'll throw himself into it.
So you're not going to be pushing yourself for an enhanced.
I think in this instance he isn't. No.
Okay. Well, you might be rewarded with a critical success in any case.
Maybe I'll fail. Who's to say?
I still have 2 minor hinders.
No. Well.
But I'm not. I'm going to save them for when you're in the dreamscape. I think that's much more funny to me personally, and entertaining me is 80% of why I'm doing this. So, roll me a study with standard effect.
Standard effect.
No, standard affect. Just slightly smiling.
Oh.
What have we here? This is a 3. The consequence of this is that you don't get the information you want. I've already advanced the clock, which is you taking the action. So I think that on top of that happening, that you have simply not, your eyes have glazed over, getting anything you can solidly understand about the Reverie Beast.
He's rereading a lot of stuff from before, and he's just going, "It's a Reverie Beast. It's a larval Reverie Beast. It's made of dreams." That's what. Yes.
So by the time you've finished that, Mr. Hound and Mr. Lurk have arrived back at various points. I suspect have you brought the doctor back with you, Mr. Lurk? I suppose you might have a medical emergency on your hands at some point.
I don't know that they've talked about it. I think if he continues back with him, then he's not going to question it. But
look, he's essentially here because Mr. Hound has invited him. If Mr. Hound says we don't need you anymore, he'll bugger off. But he will arrive back with you. So you still have 2 segments on the clock. The actual performance of the ritual will not take up any segments. You will do, that's your engagement. So you have 2 segments on the clock. If you want to continue with your research into the nature of Reverie Beast, you do have 2 segments to spend on attempting to do so, or you can go straight into it. It's up to you.
I think, like you said, it's going to take no segments, but while basic things like divvying up the drugs are happening, and Hound giving instruction to the doctor, like, we're going to be doing this thing. It would be great if you could just stick around. I do have an IOU, but I guess take my corpse if I die. That'll be part exchange. Mr. Spider is going to pause, focus, and try and glean something from the book. He's basically doing the equivalent of that last minute flick through old exam papers before you're about to go into the exam, which has only worked once for me when I did my A-level in American history, and I read an essay about the difference between Lincoln and Davis just before going into my exam, and then that was the exact exam question, and I just copied it out. So it can work.
Favorite shape of hat? For some reason, more people are named after Jefferson Davis than Abraham Lincoln.
No, here's the thing.
Including a black superhero.
No, I have an A. I got an A in American history. couldn't tell you the first thing.
Well,
But it was like over a decade ago, so like that's fine. But
the American Civil War was also over a decade ago.
Wouldn't know it.
Arguably. Okay, so give me reading or give me death.
I will give
Do
you
do not
both.
give me death. That would be suboptimal.
That's a success.
That is a success. So I mean, I'm going to tick up the clock, though. Unless you come up with something else radical that you're planning on doing, I believe you have managed to do almost all of your. I think, unless you can think of anything else, I think you're about there, without filling up the clock. So you have succeeded. A Reverie Beast, Nightmare Beast, or Rachnotherios is a spectral entity which crosses the veil very rarely. You're not sure what the veil is, and the book doesn't explain. The Rachnotherios is attracted to the unique electrochemical character of the human brain. It takes its root in the victim's thoughts and, like a cuckoo, slowly replaces those thoughts with its own, chiefly during sleep.
That's lucky. That chimes with everything he's read so far. But having read that, it gives him the confidence in knowing what it is we're doing going forward, and that he's not given the rest of the gentleman strangers any incorrect advice. And he slams the book closed with a sort of final snap and goes, "Right. Are we prepared, gentlemen?"
Right, you
Ready as we'll ever be.
Okay. So, you begin to you find there's a it's actually some blocks of stage paint that the professor has used to mark their faces. You copy the marks. You make sure you're all sitting somewhere comfortable since you're about to fall asleep. Mr. Lurk, there is something that I think might make Mr. Lurk a little nervous. Because there is a risk when you're performing this ritual.
Mm-hmm.
You're only useful if you're dreaming. If you fall too deeply to sleep, you are no longer a dreamer. You're no longer able to participate. And Mr. Lurk is still feeling a persistent drowsiness that he's had a few nights' sleep since returning from Witch Cross, and still it just hasn't lifted. So there is this feeling that you're attempting fate a little bit. You're reasonably confident, Mr. Spider, that this is not an if you die in this, you die in real life situation. But if you suffer significant psychic trauma in the realm of the mindscape, your mind will suffer when you awaken. So you certainly don't want to experience significant harm, because it will translate potentially into long-lasting psychosis and other unpleasant symptoms like that. But there is, I mean, it goes without saying that a man like Professor Cramer has several incense burners. So he has something in a faux Arabian style that's clearly pressed out of a factory in Manchester somewhere, that's in the shape of an elephant, and you set the incense resin and it starts smoking aggressively. At first it just smells like burning, but it is fragrant. It's very perfumey. The fragrance is sort of like lychees, or like really floral perfume, kind of on the edge of fruity and sweet. And you do start feeling its effects within a couple of minutes. You do start feeling a little more. At first it presents like relaxation, but then you do start feeling a little more your emotions are a little more easy to access, and so on. And at last you take the hypnotic drug, the paraldehyde. Out of interest, since you can take it in a few drops in a drink, What's everyone's tipple? What do they wash it down with? This is like that scene in Mary Poppins where they spoon out different medicine and it all tastes different. Do any of you go rum punch? What's the
Hound will go for exactly what the doctor was drinking because Hound really doesn't have a lot of. Usually, it's whatever's cheap and strong, and so to kind of class up the joint, he's just mirroring what the doctor drank.
So Hound is given this small crystal glass of Amontillado sherry, with 2 oily drops of the formaldehyde in it. Which fortunately does not affect the flavor too much. Yeah.
Spider will drink a brandy.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's an evening
It's
drink.
it's an evening drink. It's a nightcap. That's why people have a snifter of brandy in the evening anyway. Absolutely, yeah. What about Mr. Lurk?
Mr. Lurk will be having it with the little bit of Kentucky bourbon that he keeps in a
His flask. Yeah, right. Excellent.
flask on
Yeah.
him, just when he wants a little bit of home. I mean, he's not from
Perfect.
Kentucky, but like
It's
homely.
American. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not made in Scotland or Ireland. You know, it's yeah, absolutely. Well, fantastic, wonderful. So you take the hypnotic, and it doesn't take Mr. Lurk very long to feel the effects. Mr. Lurk is under within a minute, really.
Fucking lightweight.
A few minutes later, Mr. Hound and Mr. Spider follow him, and you all fall asleep, breathing in the fumes of the mildly hallucinogenic. Just as you were falling asleep, you know, all the colours in the room had started getting a little bit more vivid. You'd started seeing straight lines starting to wave a little, and as you go to sleep, you are no doubt assured of vivid dreams. We'll take a break, just in a minute, but first I want to roll the engagement roll. So we can have that hanging over our heads. I think you're going to have quite a good engagement roll. So, you have 1 die for showing up. You have a clear segment on your out of time clock, so it's an extra die for that, because you have basically because you didn't have to take a stronger dose of the formaldehyde. You've been able to drift off to sleep in a more. So that's good. You've performed the 16th method, so I'm going to give you 2 dice. I am going to offer you a devil's bargain. It's a devil's bargain of sorts that you're all going to have to consent to. The devil's bargain is this: you are at 4 engagement dice. I'm going to offer you 2 more engagement dice if you all decided to put an extra couple of drops of the hypnotic into your drinks. You will take the minor harm drowsy, and you will gain 2 further engagement dice, increasing your chances of a critical engagement success.
What will that mean for Lurk?
It will mean that Mr. Lurk's level 1 harm will upgrade to level 2 harm.
I don't think it's worth it because I get a minus dice to everything if that happens.
Oh, if that weren't the case, it would be so worth it. But,
It's
yeah.
so cool. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to.
I mean, I can.
Could
It
we
just
not?
means that I will be very useless.
Given that Lurk's already shattered, could maybe Spider and Hound have done that in order to bring them up to his level?
It's called a devil's bargain, not your best friend's bargain.
Hey!
No. Part of the bargain is this: you are taking the chance of starting on an extremely strong footing for the risk that Mr. Lurk slips too deeply into sleep partway through, and there's only 2 of you left.
Ah, no dice.
No dice.
Ah, stupid
That-
devil.
Fucking
Yeah.
witches' flowers have ruined everything.
Stupid
I mean,
devil.
It's free for me. One of my abilities is tough as nails. Penalties from harm are 1 less severe. So, like, I could take that and be basically at no detrimental effect, but we could lose a Lurk, and that would be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad.
No.
No, devil. No, we
No,
don't want your
devil.
devilry
Get thee
today.
behind me.
Not today, Satan. Okay,
Today,
fine.
evil.
I will roll 4. 4 is a very decent engagement roll. So let's. Is that Rosa? Okay, you have achieved a 6.
Yeah, she choked on some broccoli.
Oh,
Get wrecked, idiot.
is someone sitting next to you eating raw broccoli?
Yeah, she was. She was sat behind the camera eating raw broccoli.
I just don't know why this is necessary. Okay.
'Cause she's a weirdo.
Ugh.
She is, though. She is a little weirdo.
So you've achieved a 6 on the engagement roll, so you can take that joy with you into our break. It's just coming up to the top of the hour, which is fantastic. So we shall be back in what we're desperately going to attempt to make about a quarter of an hour for the rest of the hunt with the Reverie Beast. So have a wonderful 15 minutes, and we'll be right back. Hi everyone, we have returned from our break. I have a cup of tea and I just ate a mince pie. You don't care, but it puts me in a very good mood. So, I hope everyone's feeling ready for some highly esoteric action. We are far away from the dingy streets of Victorian London, and we have arrived in a pastoral scene that never was, the mystical land of Camelot. Well, I guess it's Britain, allegedly, but we are in a mystical age. Far away, strange giants known as Romans are building curious monuments, and to the north, the heathen Celts rampage. But here, in Arthur's England, knights perform great deeds of heroism, all in the service of Christ their King, while Arthur the goodly lord sits over all of Britain with his round table knights advised by the goodly and immortal wizard Merlin. But before us are 3 heroes who have emerged in the land, questing to bring an end to an injustice. So you have all manifested in this dreamscape, and you are all characters. Well, you don't have to be characters from Arthurian legend, but because of how well you rolled in the engagement and the fact that you did the enhanced ritual with the lovely hallucinogenic resin, you are fully blended into the dreamscape. There is nothing about you that should give the Reverie Beast any cause for alarm whatsoever. So I'm going to ask you, what, as you stand on this hill overlooking the rolling green of God's very own country, what is it that you look like? Mr. Spider.
Just getting my
We're all doing it.
Oh no! Here we go.
While
While you think about that, you
No, you go.
While you think about that, there's something else for you to do. You have performed Sorgren's 16th method. This enhanced ritual has given you abilities above and beyond what you would normally be capable of in your waking life. So, this manifests in 2 ways. First of all, every single one of you, here's 4 action dots. Put them wherever you like. You might consider, for example, that if your character is going to be a wizardly character or capable of magic, perhaps some attune would be good. There's no limits on where or what or how high you can put these things. Obviously, the limit is 4 for everything, but there are 4 action dots. Put them wherever you like. And you all, in addition, have access to a special ability. This special ability is called Knights of the Dreamscape. Whenever you push yourself, in addition to the effects of pushing yourself, you manifest a supernatural or magical effect around you. This can take any form that you tell me. The scale of it will depend on how you roll. But you tell me you summon a lightning storm, you summon a lightning storm. You tell me that you conjure an imp to come and assist you, you conjure an imp to come and assist you. The effect, by the way, can come from around you, so don't be limited by you hurling fireballs from your hands. This is representing the fact that you have a degree of control over the environment around you. So if you want to carry a staff and sling spells, this is the ability for you. But if you also want to be able to do things like suddenly be standing on an island in the middle of a raging ocean, this is the ability for you. So take note of that. Yeah. So, Mr. Spider, you were saying?
Oh, you'll have to give me a second now.
Of course I'm going to have to give you a second now. I did just give you quite a lot of information. I'm going to sip my tea from my...
And if anyone else wants to go first, they're welcome to. I'm still thinking.
Am I allowed to have a horse?
Yes. What's your horse called?
Oh, I didn't think of a name. Russell.
Russell. Okay, great. What's Russell's coloring? What is Russell?
Oh, he's brown.
He's a
like
chestnut brown horse, is he?
Yeah, chestnut brown, white mane, white tail. He is not a whatever the big boys are called. I forget what they're called. You know, the big ones, the big horses. He's not one of those, but he does have like fur on his hooves.
Yeah. So he's not a great. He's not a
like
great
wearing
big.
socks.
He's not a great big Shire horse pulling
Yeah.
up a huge cart. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Lovely. Russell. Lovely Russell.
And so you see Mr. Lurk is actually dressed very similarly. You know, wearing his normal outfit. It is clear that he is a cowboy. And as we all know, the sort of mythos of the cowboy in American mythology is very similar to the knight in shining armor, the, you know, goes out, saves the damsel in distress. And that is what he is. That is his vibe.
Excellent. So now we know what Sir Lurk looks like. What about
Sir Lurk a lot.
Sir Lurk-a-lot? Wonderful. That sounds. I mean, that doesn't. I mean, yeah. Honestly, Zoe, I don't know if that sounds wholesome. Sir Lurk-a-lot.
Thanks,
Okay.
I hate it.
Sir Spider, what do you look like?
So Spider.
Excellent.
So Spider could have stepped out of a Watts painting about the Knights of the Round Table, because Mr. Spider obviously relates most closely to Sir Galahad, because I'm nothing if not a stereotype of myself. So I imagine he looks both much the same and unsettlingly different. Mr. Spider has, the longish hair that a Victorian gentleman would have, but now it's kind of looser, slightly curlier, slightly more of portraiture. Still sort of brown, but now kind of that kind of golden brown of the idealized image of the knight. He's dressed in sort of the red and white that are Galahad's coat of arms. And whilst he does wear armor, it's definitely not how anyone would imagine medieval armor to be. It is like that idealized portraiture armor of like being able to walk around and not be a tin can. He's lit in soft focus. He has a sword at his side. He is very much that kind of and his face seems gentler almost. Like he's normally quite a sort of a sharp featured, very sort of sharp expressioned individual, but he seems as if being told that he has to step into Arthurian legend to have given this a lot of thought, and he is looking very thoughtfully about himself. Because of course he is.
Wonderful. And Sir Hound?
I think in a full manifestation of kind of his conflicts of the self and his identity, it's very much like Indian Rajput armor.
Oh,
Which I've been
lovely.
Googling. So it's like very ornate. It's a lot of it is kind of paneled and lined with symmetrical patterns, but it's usually a silver on a deep naval blue, kind
Mhm.
of nodding towards the more Lascar origin that he knows his father had. The face remains concealed. It's a near full wraparound coif that splits by the nose and artistically parts by the mouth. But there's to look at it in detail. There's enough kind of idiosyncrasies within the, I think that's the word for it, within the design of the armor itself. There's bits and pieces that look a little bit too modern and a little bit too idealized to be fully functional, because it's drawing from boyhood imaginations and tales told to him. So it doesn't quite, it's very fancy, it's very, very illustrative,
Yeah.
but doesn't look fully functional.
Excellent. Wonderful. So you stand up on this hill, looking in the far distance. You see the mighty castle of Camelot, and there is a flash of light, and in front of you appears a man with a striking resemblance to Professor Cramer. He is dressed in a sumptuous robe of velvet decorated with silver stars, and of course the marvelous pointed hat that you would expect from someone of that type in this genre. And he says, would we by any chance have a mutual acquaintance in one Miss Constantine?
The very same.
Well, then I thank you for coming. I apologize for jumping the gun, but I felt that the situation was rather urgent. And I did not wish to allow the opportunity for the Rachnatherios to grow too large before I was able to fight it. But, and I will deny this if publicly called out, but I may have bitten off a little more than I can chew with this one. So I'm glad you have appeared. Now, we have a bit of a problem. I may have put a little bit too much colour in the scenario. And I'm afraid to say that our quarry has taken to it rather too well, and seems to have occupied a very specific role within our mythos. And, well, not to put too fine a point on it, we are facing the considerable magical prowess of Morgan Le Fay.
Of course we are.
Yes, look, it wasn't my intention, but, you know, I do pride myself on having a very vivid imagination, and this is not always an unambiguously good thing. So, yes, that is what we are facing. I've just very quickly made a new... I need you all to know, if you're not watching the stream, I've given us a new background with Camelot, so I couldn't resist.
Oh, it's wonderful.
How could I resist?
Oh no, I was so confused because earlier you said you hadn't made a new background without Ash, and I was like, yes, you have. I didn't realize you meant you hadn't made this background.
No,
without Ash.
this background I made in the last 2 minutes while talking. It's an amazing feat of multitasking. I will never be able to repeat, but that's where we are in the world right now. So, yes, unfortunately, she has taken a role in the story where she has imprisoned King Arthur, who is the young man who is her present prey. So, good news, noble knights. We have a very clear quest. We must rescue King Arthur and defeat the witch. Is that a horse? Did you perform the 16th method?
We did.
Ah. Wilhelmina has come through once again. Now, I have managed to wrest control of the dreamscape. When I arrived, it was not Arthurian legend. He was being pursued through an endless labyrinth of London alleyways by some unpleasant figure. We have shifted the paradigm to something that is much more compatible with our desired narrative, for we are in a world where good always triumphs. But it would be deeply tragic if, in rescuing the king, we forgot to also defeat the sorceress. Now, the problem is I only performed the 15th method, which means that while I do pride myself on having a very active imagination, this garb is not representative of any Merlin-like ability to do much. So, I am at your command, sirs, whoever you are. Night strangers.
We are indeed the night strangers, sir. I suppose you may call me Sir Spider.
Sir Spider, how distinctive. And who are your compatriots?
Sir Hound.
Sir Hound. Oh yes, I like this. This is very good.
And I'm Sir Lurk.
Sir Lurk. Well, excellent. May we soon all enjoy a seat around the round table together.
Oh, and this is Russell, by the way.
Oh, Russell, what a handsome fellow.
Now, I look at Lurk like, what?
Can I just like conjure an apple?
Yeah.
Is that a thing I can do?
Yeah. You want to treat your horse to a nice crunchy snack? Yeah, absolutely.
Zoe, I love you so much.
Yeah, this is absolutely correct. This is perfect. So, I suppose onward to Camelot then, my good knights. Yes, you must draw your sword, point it forward, onward, and you are led by the noble wizard across the rolling countryside. Although, of course, because you've arrived at a very picturesque pastoral scene, the castle is many miles away. Though you actually cross that distance reasonably quickly, but by the time you arrive, the sky is not a beautiful, clear blue. It is wreathed in a terrible dark storm. Lightning with a sick greenish hue crashes through between the clouds. And you can see that from every parapet of the ornamental castle fly black banners with some sinister sigil on it in blood red, the symbol of the sorceress Morgana. She has replaced the noble yeomanry of the castle with her own sinister guards. With you've got to imagine, surely, that they have really sinister armor, really pointy shoulder bits, and their faces, of course, completely covered with sort of black masks and sinister helmets with many points on it, all with this red. What is the sigil of this witch queen? I think it's a crown, and I think it's a crown that looks sort of. It's red, and I think it's really pointy in a really villainous way, like an evil queen type crown. There they are. You crouch in the shrubbery, looking over the drawbridge to the castle. There they are. Now, there are a great many of them, but in my experience, they are not overly competent. Fortunately, I seem to have convinced the mind of our king that evil is often incompetent and doomed to fail. So I shall take your lead, gentlemen.
Hound, Lurk, I shall require you to find us a matter of ingress.
Well, we can do.
Yep.
We'll do a survey of Rooney.
Okay, yeah. Survey this wicked scene.
Would you like to lead that, or I can lead that? Either one.
Let me just... The way I'm going to do this.
Survey. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no. You have to summon survey.
Shit, it's too good. It's too powerful.
Is that name yourself? What's your gentleman stranger's knight insert character?
I will lead. What are we doing here? Like a risky standard?
I think that you're controlled. You've approached from a distance. You're in a position where you can easily plot out a stealthy route. So I'm perfectly happy to say controlled.
Controlled, standard, whip.
Excellent. Fours.
Cool.
Okay, fours. So you are able to bring back the information that you require. I think what I'm going to do is... I think the consequence for this is I'm going to bring up a clock, which is that there was, of course, the traditional slightly louder than intended footstep.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the correct thing to do in this instance.
I was actually still riding my horse.
Well, if I get off him, what if he disappears? So I'm going to start a 4-segment clock called Alarm, with no segments filled, but it exists nonetheless. Actually, no. I guess I have to fill a segment, really, don't I? And when it's filled, obviously they'll know you're there. But you are able to bring back information. Fortunately, they are expecting, it seems, that the Knights of Camelot will be bringing their gathering their men and storming the castle gates, and that is all they have prepared for. Mr. Hound, sorry, my apologies, Sir Hound, Surprise and Survey. You have you have Surprise, Survey, and Surpass. You have successfully discovered that there is a way. The moat is dry. And there is a way, if you are patient and cunning and agile, that you will be able to clamber up the moat to the postern gate, which none are watching, and you will immediately find yourself within the castle walls.
We will relay this.
Then we must make our way in and... Goody Wizard, do you know where we might find the king? The dungeons?
Of course the dungeons. Probably the most unpleasant cell imaginable. It may well be... Let me see. Are any of you familiar with the Arthurian paradigm?
Of course. We've not read Mallory.
Would you agree, Sir Spider, that it would be better for King Arthur himself, having been rescued by his loyal knights, to defeat the witch himself? Or should we defeat her and rescue him subsequently?
No, I believe we rescue him, for the knights would never turn towards violence before they had rescued their king.
Very well, then. I will leave you to your work, since I have no skill for guile or combat, but I will see you in the throne room.
course.
Speak my name, and I shall come to you.
You shall.
Oh, what is my name? I am the good wizard Cramer. Blast. Oh well. It has served me for 53 years. It will serve me now. And he vanishes in a puff of purple smoke.
I love him. What a
So-
good
Very well. We
character.
go in and we go in. We go down.
So, this is going to be to get all the way to the gate is going to be a prowl check. I suggest for roles like this that they usually benefit by being a group prowl check, but you are
Oh, yeah.
absolutely welcome to take your own time and do it individually.
No. I think a group prowl check is probably for the best.
Very good. And who would like to lead the prowl check?
I would love to lead if it means that I don't gain any stress.
Leading means you will gain stress if anyone
Oh,
fails.
I'd
so
hate to lead. I'm not a leader.
no,
I
but
can lead.
you-
I'm Prowly.
okay. So excellent. So everyone roll prowl, and then Sir Lurk will take the brunt of anyone who does not
Is
succeed.
this risky?
This is certainly risky. Yes, you risk detection.
Look, I just want to say in advance, I'm sorry.
Limited
For
effect because I'm tired.
yes,
I'm still tired in this dream world.
it's actually worse for you.
Oh, fuck.
So now that you've been here for a little while, the overall experience you've been having is, in dreams when sometimes you don't understand what's happening because you can't really hear what people are saying and the image isn't quite working. You are having a sort of an experience where reality is kind of fading occasionally. You are asleep and your body is desperately trying to pull you into a deep, refreshing sleep. So that's the experience you're having. That's why that's how the penalties are coming about. So we have we have a 4 from Mr. Hound, 4 from Sir Lurk, and a 3 from Sir Spider. So that's a success. Sir Lurk only has to spend 1 stress to compensate for Sir Spider. It's a success with a consequence. So that consequence is going to be that you. What's that? That's strange. So there's a slightly heightened alarm state
Must have been the wind.
among the guards. Those damn rats. Yes, absolutely. But you have you managed to get to the side of the castle where the gate is. You now must go down the moat and then clamber up to the side gate. There are various things you could roll to attempt this. It is really a prowl. I say there are various things. I now really don't think there are. I think it is a prowl. So yeah, this is another prowl. But because you've succeeded in getting into this position, this prowl will be at controlled position. Because they haven't guarded this part of the castle wall, no one's on watch. Having made it here, even a failure, you won't result in adding to your alarm clock. It'll just be that you haven't made it. You might take some injury, but you are in a controlled position for the purposes of this roll. So you might even, if stress is at a premium, you could even take it individually, knowing that the risks of detection are almost 0.
Sure. I'm happy to do it individually.
Okay. So yeah, who would like to brave the moat first? Let's say it's dry in that it's not absolutely full of water, but of course it's a little damp and there are roots and various things. So it's quite climbable as long as you're slow and steady.
I'll happily go first. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
1 click away.
Sir Hound.
Hmm.
Sir Hound, sadly, you've rolled a 1. So I think what happens is on your way up the moat, you grab onto a root in the hopes that it will support you in your climbing, but it pulls away from the wet soil and you tumble down You tumble down into the wet mud. I have to afford you a consequence, and I think that is going to be.
Soggy underwear.
Yeah, I actually think that's what I'm going to give you. What I'm going to, because I don't think you haven't rolled far enough to sprain anything or anything like that. I think I'm genuinely going to give you the level 1 harm, uncomfortably damp under things. You are at liberty, if you wish, to resist this consequence.
No, I'll take this one, I think.
Uncomfortably damp, and suddenly these words appear on your character sheet. Excellent, good. The best consequence I've ever handed out. Possibly anyone in the history of Blades in the Dark has ever handed out. So yes, you will see Sir Hound clamber down fairly confidently, notwithstanding the wet ground, and climb up. But unfortunately, nature has failed him, and he lands in the sodden ground. Who's next?
I will go next.
Sir Lurk.
Yes. Ooh. Oh, no bonus dice. Wahaha.
Ah, okay, fantastic. So you have succeeded. You've succeeded at a cost with a roll of a 5. Limited effect. Okay, so I think all of that adds up to you get down to the level at the bottom of the moat where Sir Hound is presently standing himself off and going, as he feels that unique discomfort of, I landed in a puddle with my bum. And I think that's as far as you get. I think when you get to the bottom of the moat, you have a moment where you start feeling just a moment of drowsiness, and you sort of lose focus a little bit. I'm not going to impart harm on you. I think it's that you're going to have to roll again to climb back up. Mr. Spider, are you going to wait until these two have climbed up, or are you going to climb down to join them? I mean, the roll is to attempt to get all the way up to the other side, so it's up to you.
I'm gonna wait until at least one of them's up, just so that we've got balance.
No problem at all. So which of Sir Lurk and Sir Hound is going to brave the climb up first?
I can do it if you... Let me show you how it's done, I guess.
I can do it if you're too busy having a soggy ass. What Mary Berry would call a soggy bottom. For those bakery fans out there. Yeah. Fantastic.
Aha.
Fantastic. So you rolled a full success. Now I've said the effect is limited, but it's not it's not that arduous. I think it's limited in that it's not going to be particularly quick or stylish. You've developed a healthy concern about relying too much on the roots that are jutting out, having watched what happened to Sir Hound. So you clamber up, you avoid a couple of the perhaps too conveniently placed handholds, and you clamber up pretty much on your belly at the point where you manage to get up to the other side, but you have successfully made it to the other side. Yeah. You've made it to the side. If you want to provide assistance to anyone else, I'm not saying you have to, but if you wanted to, of course you have thought to carry your trusty rope with you to let down, but that's how I'd manage that. But bearing in mind that assisting costs stress, you're of course welcome not to do that just because it's don't think you have to. So Sir Spider, are you going to make your attempt now? Very well. Prowl for me at controlled and stated.
Yeah. Well, this could go one of two ways.
Yes. It has gone one of the ways, and the way that it has gone is that you rolled a 2. So you actually, I think the way it goes for you is you don't have a confident journey down the slope. You actually manage to hit a patch of slick mud, and so you end up you end up face planting in the wet mud at the bottom of the moat, and I am going to consequence you with level 1 harm. I mean,
Neat.
I think I'm going to give you a strained wrist.
My wrist.
Yes, it's level 1 harm. You may attempt to negate it if you wish.
No.
Unceremonious. Well, can someone stop this from happening? Earlier on, he said circumvent, and I didn't like that.
He did say circumvent, and
I didn't like
I would
that.
like to ban him.
It made me feel very, very sad. I haven't forgotten my minor hinders, but they're lurking like a threat in the background. They're lingering over you all. So, Sir Hound and Sir Spider, you are both covered in mud, in various ways. Who,
Yeah, I don't care for that.
while Sir Lurk triumphantly stands over you, the true climber.
Can I, can I avoid the stress or circumvent the stress,
Don't
perhaps?
say that.
What you can do instead, you can perform a setup action.
Yeah, can I have my horse help them? Like maybe the horse is down there and they can
That's
get on
your
the back of the horse and come on up.
Well, I was going to suggest something less outlandish, but this is a dream.
It's
so
a dream.
So I mean, yeah.
A little boost from the horse.
You can you whistle for your horse, but at a special frequency that only he and you can hear.
Do like a bird call? Cuckoo.
And Sir Russell gallantly appears at the top of the moat and with a single leap lands with strange grace. Okay, fine. So now you all have a horse. You could have laid down a rope. Like you could have tied a rope to a tree for them to climb on. But I mean, this is fine too. Well, excellent.
I guess I'm going to try again.
He's a big horse.
Climb on the horse.
Yeah, we will use.
What do you use for operating vehicles again? Operating vehicles is finesse, right?
Great.
Yeah, handle a vehicle or mount is finesse. So,
Yeah.
Which of you is going to drive the horse?
I think Hound is going to have to drive the horse.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Hound.
I have nothing in finesse.
Oh, what? Do you have nothing in finesse?
Nothing at all. Yeah, I'm not a very finessey character. I like to hunt things and shoot things.
Superb. I also lack finesse.
That's cool.
It's a good thing there are no enemy guards here watching
What
this
have I
happen.
done?
No,
I mean,
a horse.
I mean, again, rope. No, I like it. It's good. It's a Skyrim horse. Assuming you can get the horse going, he will be able to make the climb.
We're talking a risky standard.
I think it's got to be risky, hasn't it? Because you're going to be on a horse going up a moat.
Yep. Any bargains
I can't. It's standard effect though. I mean, in what possible way is this standard effect as this hooved creature tries
For
to?
what it is, it's standard.
Devil's bargain. Oh my god, this is a devil's bargain. Getting on this horse is a devil's bargain. My devil's bargain is. Okay, I've got a devil's bargain for you. But I'm going to give you a really extreme devil's bargain because I think it would be funnier. You are going to succeed at this. I'm not going to ask for a roll. In return, the horse will be very unhelpful at a very crucial moment.
I love that so much. I accept your bargain. And I will not consult with my peers.
Excellent, but that's what we like. That's what we like to see. So with a single bound, I don't think horses can take standing jumps, but this one can. With a single bound, the horse leaps and lands you both smoothly on the upper shore of the moat, the same side as Sir Lurk. And
Good boy, Russell.
It's a good horse. I like this
He is.
horse.
The horse
It was wrong.
the horse whinnies gratefully for your appreciation.
I give him some scritches.
Mr. Spider is skeptical about the horse.
You owe him a sugar cube. You're standing outside the side gate. There are no guards observing you.
Well,
Onwards, I suppose.
Let's break out King Arthur.
Yeah, let's break out King Arthur. So, what are you doing with the horse? What did you say his name was? I'm not calling him Bernard. Russell, for God's sake.
Like the sprout, nearly.
Yeah, yeah, like the city in Belgium, nearly. Yeah.
I was thinking like it's like a russet potato because he's like russet brown, but I didn't want his name to be Russet.
Okay.
So it's Russell.
It's a sign. It must be a sign that I'm too Mr. Spider in real life. Because I was like, oh, like Russell Square in London.
Like Russell Square in London. Yeah, okay. Like Brussels the Sprout. A sprout's a great name for a horse too.
It's like the verb, just without the silent T.
If Russell has a foal, that foal better be called Sprout. That is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are you doing with Russell? Are you going to bring him with you?
Well, so I didn't think this far ahead.
There's a post to tie him to if you don't want to. You're perfectly welcome to try.
Will it be suspicious if there's just a horse?
Well, I mean,
or is that part of the like magic? Is that like nothing we do is suspicious?
At this present moment, no one is. Because you've rolled to roll an engagement, it means that the Reverie Beast does not know that you are here. The Reverie Beast may become aware that you are here subsequently. The biggest thing that's suspicious is not going to be the horse. The biggest thing is that until you comically knock out a guard with a slap to the back of the head, you're not wearing a Morganic guard tabard. I think we'll do it so you don't have to wear their armor. You could if you wanted to comically disguise yourself, because you're the gentleman strangers, right? You don't have to fully disguise yourself. You could find a tabard and just slip it on, and obviously the disguise would work perfectly. You could find some livery in Morganic colours and put it on the horse, and then no one would care. The horse might raise questions, but horses have been known to be in castles.
Then. Yeah, I'll leave him outside. See, what I would want to do is send him away a la Bill in The Lord of the Rings. But then if he's sent away, you don't get your side of the devil's bargain, and that doesn't seem fair.
I don't know, you could send him away and then we could suddenly find that he's eating something important.
That's true. Maybe it gives you more power if he's.
Look, I respect what you're trying to do, but you worry about my devil's bargains. That is set in stone and inked in blood. So don't worry about what happens to this horse. It's going to do something unhelpful at a crucial moment, no matter what.
Then yeah, I'll just leave him here. I'll tell him to stay, and that's it.
Says the horse. Okay, and you proceed. You find yourselves entering into the guard barracks, where you see a number of men asleep in their bunks, but there's also quite a few guards up and about. They do not hear you as you open the door that leads into the barracks. But they are between you and the exit. They helpfully have a conversation about. I hear our prisoner's been causing trouble. Oh, it's these. We're well rid of him. Thank God our lady and mistress has come to save Camelot from his poisonous ways. Why, I was delivering him his meal only last night, and he gave an inconvenient speech about how I was not a good Christian. I took that personally. The other guard said, yes. Why, I hope the rains come so hard that the whole southern quadrant floods and he drowns. Yes, I quite agree. Oh, bloody Arthur. They have a very helpful conversation. And then they get on with their duty, put on their sinister helmets and go out on patrol. If you are imagining these as Oblivion NPCs, then we have connected psychically. You are objectively correct.
Jesus Christ.
And you surveyed the castle earlier, so you know that you have entered. You've entered on the western side of the compound. So you have a pretty good idea that the dungeons must be under one of the towers on the southern wall. And as they walk past, a bunch of plates on a nearby table hover mysteriously.
Oh. Yeah, to the south.
Okay, and how are we proceeding? Are we going to maintain stealth, or are we going to bop some people around?
Well, my usual inclination is towards violence. I feel like if I am violent now, there is a chance I will not be able to be violent later. So I think maintaining stealth for now, and we save the violence for Morgana Le Fay.
Okay, so because you did your survey earlier, you do have a very good idea of where the dungeon is likely to be. So because of that, I'm going to let you prowl your way there in one roll. Although whether you get there or not is dependent upon how the dice gods are feeling, and I am going to be employing a minor hinder with one of the two minor hinders that are lurking. Are you going to do a group prowl, or are you going to try independently to get to the dungeon?
I think independent went bad.
I have 3 stress things left.
Yeah, actually, yeah. This for all that we're having a lot of high fantasy japes. All of your mental states are just very, very fragile. Preparing for this, Mr. Spider has poured so much of his mental energy into reading books that he doesn't have much left of himself.
He's real tired. I guess we're doing it individually then.
I mean, I can. It just so if I fill it up, that's when I get a trauma.
If you fill it up, things will go very, very badly wrong. Filling
it's not like I fill it up and then the next one gives me the trauma. It's the last one gives me the trauma.
You fill it up, and not only do you gain a trauma, but you are Sir Lurk is excused from the rest of the hunt in ways undoubtedly unpleasant.
Then let us go individual.
Yeah.
Okay, very well. So I think the way this looks is okay. We're going to split up. We're going to you go that way, you go that way, you go that way. So you're going in different directions. Okay, so who would like to attempt this first? Nobody. Sir Hound.
Yes.
Risky
Risky standard?
Certainly.
Boop. Oh, that's all right.
That is fine. That's fine. So that's a 4.
Yeah.
I am going to wind up the alarm clock a little. That's actually not the phrase I meant to say. That is actually a thing you can do, is wind up an alarm clock. But you have made it to the dungeon tower, and while you await the other two, you've managed to find a shadow to hide in, so you're not going to be spotted until you're not going to be spotted before they arrive. Who's next?
Me.
Sir Spider.
Said that with all the confidence of a man who's not about to probably have a very bad time. Prowl.
Now, I'm going to have to offer a minor hinder here,
Oh,
because I think it would be exciting to hinder the person who's already the worst at it.
no.
The hinder is -1 die. Wait, how many dice do you have in Prowl?
1.
In this case, the hinder is you're going to have to roll on... you're going to have -1 die.
Oh, so I'm literally just rolling.
You roll...
I've never done this before. Where's the roll for? Where's the button for that? Is it just?
Well, click on something else you have 0 dice in, and we'll pretend it's Prowl.
Okay, fine and dandy.
What it does is it rolls 2 dice, and you take the worst result.
And it's risky.
It is risky. Yep. Risky standard. Okay, right. So you rolled a 3. You rolled a 3 and a 5, which is a 3. So you don't quite make it to the dungeon when you are spotted by a guard who rings an alarm bell.
No.
Sir Hound, you see Sir Spider. He's one confident dash away from making it to the same helpful shadow of the tower that you are in, when a guard rounds the corner and spots him, and he shouts, "Alarm! Alarm!" And a nearby guard rings the alarm bell, and and more guards start streaming out. So Lurk, wherever it is you are, I mean, I could ask for you to. I'm going to still ask for you to try to roll, but I guess it depends on what your response to this is.
Well, if it was just the one guy, I was going to try to shoot him. But if there's lots of guys, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna like sink back into the shadows and try and not be seen.
Okay.
So.
Fine. So you are going to. So just to be clear, as Sir Spider is being surrounded by guards, so you're going to prowl for me, I think.
I know that. I don't know that. Well, they did say that the guards were like super, like.
Yeah, I mean,
dangerous.
Yeah. If your impulse is to kind of prowl and to keep an eye on the situation, you don't want to be ambushed as well while you're still separate from him, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, so risky or desperate at this point?
You.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked. Oh no.
I don't think you're in a desperate position yet,
Okay.
because they're not coming for you, so you can just roll it risky.
And is this so for the? Because I have the level 1. I'm tired.
This one's standard. I think. I don't think this is the kind of thing that involves an enormous amount of focus. You're basically flattening yourself against whatever wall you're at, so I think that's risky standard.
Oh gosh.
Nevertheless, you have rolled a 2. So, you. Oh, I know how it goes. Oh, this is too perfect. Okay, so if you'll forgive some Disney Robin Hood level shenanigans here, you as you told me, you were contemplating shooting one of the guys. You draw it's actually a crossbow. Now, before everyone gets in the comments, I know a crossbow is anachronistic, but so is a pistol, and a pistol is even worse. So you draw a crossbow. You're somewhat surprised to see, and you go, there's actually quite a lot of them. You flatten yourself against the wall, hitting the hair trigger of the crossbow, which fires off and hits one of the bells nearby. Ding goes the bell. and you attract some trouble. So, Sir Hound, you are witness to all of this. Sir Spider. Two guards have rushed out and have drawn swords on you. Lay down your arms. You're arrested by order of the Queen.
Oh no. Oh heavens. Mr. Spider doesn't say. Instead, he is, I guess, engaging in his own sort of sense of the dreamscape.
What did you put your dots in, by the way? I'm very interested.
Skirmish.
Oh, you did? Okay. So how does...
Because Mr. Spider, when in the face of these two guards, sweeps the cloak back from his shoulder and draws his sword.
Okay.
And says, "I think not."
Yes.
And is going to skirmish with these two knights.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Do it.
Because why actually not?
Yeah, why actually not?
Because this is his dream and he wants to be a knight. So is this just regular? Is this risky?
You would roll skirmish. This is risky. 'Cause there aren't enough of them surrounding you to make it desperate, I don't think. And they're not the nation's finest.
Hence standard effect.
Rosa coughing in the background.
Yeah, she's my little urchin. She's the coughing one today. Boom, son.
Sir Spider, Errol Flinning your way through the guards. You roll a 6. I think because there's two of them, because I've very, very clearly established that they're not the finest warriors on God's green earth. I think you are able. You draw your sword with your. You say, "I think not," and then you promptly bop one of them on the head of his helmet, and he collapses. And the other one, you exchange blows with him. It's very clear that you are well practiced bladesman. And this guy is at most a cocksmith, and he drops his sword and cowers, and you pock him on the head with the pommel of your sword, and he crumples unconscious. Huzzah! Sir Lurk. Someone is okay. Don't question cocksmith. Sir Lurk,
Yes.
you have drawn the attention of but one of these guards. Who goes there?
Can I just punch him?
I don't see why not. Roll
I
for
would
it.
like to punch. That's what, skirmish?
You can.
So, okay.
Well,
So these action dots,
Yeah,
I can put them wherever I want.
you can put them wherever you want. Yeah.
Can you use them for special abilities, or is that not allowed?
What do you mean? Oh, to buy a special ability.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I don't know that I want to. I just want to know what my options are.
I will allow that, but the exchange rate
Oh gosh.
is two action dots. You can sacrifice 2 action dots to buy a special ability. I'll allow that. I think that's interesting.
Okay.
But bearing in mind, you do have a special ability for free, which is the ability to push yourself to evoke some extraordinary effect. But
I can also. Am I attacking from hiding? No, because he sees me. That's the thing. Never mind.
he does see you. What I was going to say was you can absolutely skirmish to punch him, but since he's an incompetent boob of a guard and thinks he has the upper hand, technically there's an argument for you sucker punching him with a prowl if that's better for you.
It is better for me. I don't know where I want to put my dots yet. I haven't done that. 'Cause
Well,
I'm-
the nature of Blades in the Dark is such that you can decide on the fly. As long as you don't change them afterwards, you can decide entirely on the fly what to do with those.
Well, then I will prowl. Is this risky standard?
This is risky standard, yeah.
Ah,
Okay, so you launch yourself forward, but his reactions are slightly quicker than you think they are going to be, and he bats you aside with a swipe of his blade, not with much force, but enough to hurt you. So I'm definitely going to give you some harm on this one, Mr.
haven't I
Lurk.
had enough?
You are literally, you are tired. That is, I've got level 1 harm, slightly woozy, and I'm done. You take harm.
I'm sleepy and I want to go home.
It's too much. I need to get back to my Tumblr. So you take level 1 harm, which is grazed hand. You're welcome to attempt to resist this if you like.
Nah.
But there we go. Level 1 harm. Grazed hand. Okay, so that's that. So, Sir Hound, you've also seen, and Sir Spider, I think you've heard this by now. You've both seen Sir Lurk is now engaged in a skirmish. Sir Lurk has not yet drawn. Well, I think Sir Lurk actually. I don't know. Are you still holding a crossbow in one hand? Have you dropped it?
No, I think that I have holstered it again because I have a crossbow holster.
Yeah,
As one does.
of course you do. And needless to say, it does not need reloading. That's not
No.
part of that's not action.
It has 6 shots, and then I have to reload.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. Amazing. Yeah. Of course. The chamber has 6 rounds in it. The rounds are crossbow bolts, but even so, I did Russian roulette with a crossbow. It's hard to hear. So you. Okay. Yeah. So you've both seen that Sir Lurk is engaging in fisticuffs with a man with a sword.
I think I'm going to shoot him.
You draw your own. Now
Mr.
you.
Lurk?
Now, to put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
It's kind of this way.
No.
So, Mr. Hound, you actually, because Mr. Hound in real life is a more confident shot. I am perfectly prepared to let you have like you can have your choice between either a masterworked Italian crossbow, you know, with all the fittings, or you can have a ridiculously powerful and long range English longbow, whatever
It's
you.
got to be the longbow. It's got to be the longbow.
You are bringing Robin Hood into this. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. So yeah, you, notwithstanding the inevitable length of the longbow, you rise from the hedge you've been hiding in with it fully strung and extended. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, make your shot. I think it's probably a hunt, but you might have a better idea.
It is 100% a hunt, and that is where I've been putting my bonus die.
Ah, perfect.
So, risky standard?
You are actually in a controlled position because no one has detected you.
Heck yeah, that's what I love to hear.
In fact, I'm going to give you. Oh, yeah, fuck it. Why not? I'm going to give you greater effect because you have the time to take aim.
Wonderful. Then there we go.
Okay,
I'll
fantastic.
Take that 6, please.
So, oh well, you have a 6 at great effect. So. As the guard raises his sword to chastise Sir Lurk even further, an arrow appears in his side, and he goes oof. He makes the Roblox oof sound, and he collapses. Sorry, the Messiah oof sound, and he collapses to the side. Hi, Tommy, if you're in the chat. I mean, he's dead nominally, but it doesn't matter. He's incapacitated with arrow inside.
I scramble up and dust myself off, look over in the direction that the arrow came, and tip my hat.
Oh yes, amazing. Absolutely.
I tip my coif.
Yes, perfect. Please let the last thing said in the chat not be a cocksmith. I have some regrets, but I'm not gonna let you see that. Okay, fantastic. So there's no one else ringing the bell, and no one else has come forward, so you have free access to the dungeon. So I think I have a suggestion for this that I think might be quite fun. I suggest that one of you leads a group skirmish roll to fight your way to the king. Which, if you succeed, you know, will get you all the way there, or you can bash down the door and fight it out normally, depending upon how you feel about your resources at the moment. That's up to you.
I like the idea of the group skirmish, and I would
be excited for a group skirmish.
Yeah, I would want definitely Mr. Spider to lead that.
Okay, fantastic. So, you all roll skirmish, and whoever can spare the stress lead, Mr. Spider's been volunteered.
Don't fail. If you fail, I'll be real cross.
Okay, yeah. So everyone rolls skirmish.
I'm gonna put one of my things in it.
Great.
So I do better. Risky standard?
You know what? You've arrived here. You dealt with the alarm pretty efficiently. I'm going to give you... I have to give you risky, but I'm going to give you great effect.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, good.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's my
good.
friend.
That's a good start. Yes!
That's excellent.
666. Oh yes. Okay.
The skirmish of the beast.
This is
the
a
coolest. This is some like a Guy Ritchie level.
Yeah, this is absolutely. This is the Avengers in full swing, descending.
For the first time in his life, Mr. Spider kicks a door in, and
Yeah.
it's just like...
Nobody gets even so much as a graze that isn't perfectly choreographed, and they deflect at the last minute. And we see a comedy smash cut of Morgan's guards being kicked downstairs and punched in the face and smashed against walls. And as you descend to the dungeon floor, we hear the groans of these writhing minions. And before you, in indeed the dingiest cell of the dungeon, but nevertheless wreathed in his own personal dignity, is the High King of all England, Arthur, the most Christian and virtuous ruler that will ever be known in history. My loyal knights,
Sire,
I never lost faith that you would come to find me. Sir Lurk, Sir Hound, Sir Spider, it is good to see you. But we have no time for celebration. A usurper sits the throne and uses my people for her own evil ends. Tell me, where is the mighty wizard Cramer? We will need his sorcery against the wicked one.
wise Cramer will meet us in the throne room, sire, where sits the usurper.
Yes, she dares to sit in my father's chair and rule over my virtuous people. We will show her the folly of her ways, and hope that in her last moments she accepts the Lord and Saviour Christ.
Indeed.
Let us set off, but first let us engage in highly sincere and slightly cringe-inducing prayer, and he leads you in prayer. You stride out. Arthur ducks away into an area of the dungeon and returns with his golden armor on and Excalibur at his hip. She is no king of England, for only I hold this, he says as he leads you up the stairs and out. You know, they say the devil collects when it is worst for him to collect.
This fucking horse!
You know, your horse has grown very anxious in your absence. Am I really about to do this?
This is what happens when we bring a fucking horse girl on our
I'm going to do this. He bounds up with enormous enthusiasm, but he doesn't recognize this fourth person who's with you, and he rears up and bashes King Arthur in the face, who promptly falls completely unconscious. That's right, weekend at Bernie's. King Arthur is now unconscious in the mud, and the horse looks very pleased with himself.
Russell, no! Russell, bad!
Russell calms down, glad to see that you are all right.
My horse killed King Arthur.
Lurk.
Yeah.
I'm not even sorry.
Lurk.
It's bad optics on that.
I have a
It doesn't
number
look.
Uh,
Oh.
There is a puff of smoke, and the wizard Cramer appears before you. I sense something changed in the dream.
Oh, God in his head.
He's-
Well.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, I was having such a lovely dream.
Well,
Well.
oh, I'm going to take Excalibur.
Sir Hound relieves the king of Excalibur, at which point his armor transforms and his coif transforms into a crowned helm, and he takes on. He still looks like Sir Hound, but perhaps he's a little taller. There's a nobler aspect to him. Well, well,
Well,
Your Majesty,
Sire.
we are at your command.
we are going to go and kill Morgana Le Fay.
Yes.
Yes.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
huzzah.
And so,
Huzzah.
I'm gonna ride Russell.
yes, yes.
Listen, I know he was just excited, and maybe, he has these powerful legs. Maybe he can use them in the fight. Who knows?
He just one-punched King Arthur. So I mean,
He did.
okay, so yes, you stride forward, the mighty wizard, the unexpected king, and the cavalry, of course. They should give Excalibur to Russell, and he just becomes.
Russell doesn't deserve. Russell doesn't
No, it's-
deserve to be Arthur.
By the laws of the
Whoever
Kling.
defeats.
Yeah, by the
previous-
yeah. It's a Klingon promotion, Okay.
I to be honest, I have to say, on a very personal level, ridiculously stan the image of Hound in Indian armor, but with the crown. That's my King Arthur.
100%, yeah. No, absolutely. So there's no question of me asking you to roll for your advance to the throne room. As the dramatic music swells and everyone forgets the comic relief, you mow down a small army of Morgana's thugs until at last you kick open. I mean, you kick open, presumably with the might of Russell, the doors to Camelot's throne room, and you see her sitting upon the throne of England, eating a shiny Disney red apple like an asshole. You see in a robe of dark silk, decorated with silver and emeralds, her hands coated with rings that come to claws, wearing a crown that is Sauron-esque. Wilhelmina Constantine. Yes, I thought this might happen. Yes. Don't worry, it's not really her. It's just the Reverie Beast thinks I'd be afraid of her.
Oh, we shall unpack that later. Don't worry.
I've been trying to. Well, and then he whispers to Sir Hound. Well, it's your line, sire.
Could you give me a prompt? What kind of thing would a king say?
Well, there are many options before you. A comical playwright might go with "You're in my chair," or you might try something more dramatic, like calling her a foul usurper. I mean, there's lots of latitude here.
Foul usurper. She's a witch.
All right. Let's fucking have that foul usurper.
Well,
That'll do it. That'll do it. And the fight initiates. And the fight initiates as Morgana lashes out with both hands, and a screeching ball of green flame surges towards you all. You all dive out of the way, or gallop out of the way, still on your horse until you're doing otherwise, I guess. So, you're all now behind various pillars. And she starts blasting the room with lightning and fire and huge shards of ice, trying to hunt you out. So now it's over to you all to tell me what happens next.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
We have a horse.
Yes.
Can we do like a Trojan horse type situation? And by that I mean, this is gonna be so evil, and no animals were harmed in the making of this TTRPG.
Mm-hmm.
I have demolition supplies. So in my defense,
no one knows
we were
who.
told that what can harm them is non sequiturs and things that don't make sense. I feel like a horse strapped with TNT is that.
Someone, no one knows who, has filled the horse with nitroglycerin. Okay.
Is that too evil?
No.
I just don't know.
We're bad
He's
people.
not a real horse.
I just
kill horses.
ran in my head. I'm going to have to. Just give me a moment here. Now, unfortunately, for your plan, I must inform you. Although everyone's very enthusiastic about this, so although I'm not going to stop it on these grounds, I am going to point out that we do have a listed veil in our safety tools for harm against animals.
Oh no!
So it is possible that this is something we wouldn't want to do on screen. But it's not. Yes. It's not mine personally, but it's someone's. So it's up to you all to decide how okay with this you are. If you do it, I'll put a content warning on the VOD, and we'll leave it at that. But yeah.
Is there anything that could be achieved with explosives of a horse's jacksie that couldn't be achieved with explosive hurled from the back of a horse?
Yeah, I would rather see Hound charge in like a jousting knight with dynamite.
Yes. Well, I'm not.
Fewer horse giblets.
I know you're weirdly eager to destroy this fictional horse. I think
This
a lot
fictional
could be
horse
done.
that you invented and that you love.
I love Russell, and Russell is a good boy. But
yes,
listen, it's a non sequitur. It doesn't make sense, and Trojan horses feel very thematic.
I
keep
don't
saying
know.
Trojan
you
horse.
Keep saying
I
Trojan
don't
horse.
think
Have
you know what that
read?
is.
I thought you meant, and then like 100 Greeks come streaming out of the horse.
We could though. We could do that. We could have Russell vomit up a bunch of very small.
You are absolutely
mice with spears.
You are correct. You are correct. This is a dream. You are not trying to formulate a logical narrative here. I will offer a devil's bargain.
Oh gosh.
No, hang on. Let me think about this. Will this work? Let me think about this for a moment. If it's worth doing. I don't see how it could be. No, never mind. I'm not going to, because I don't think it'd be worth doing. But yeah, you're thinking exactly along the right line. You're trying to think of stuff that's too outlandish for the scenario. So yeah, what are you up to? The room is being blasted with various elemental attacks as she tries to smoke you out from hiding behind the various pillars. Let's finish this, Arthur. England is mine by right of might and magic. Whoosh, splat. She says as the verbal component of her spells.
Like, Hound's a little out of his depth when it comes to monologuing, and he's trying very hard not to just descend into the kind of rough and tumble talk one might say if you're a street thug on the streets of London around the Victorian era. So there's a lot of avasting,
Great.
unnecessarily.
Vast.
Okay, good. Okay.
Avast, you piece of shit.
Okay,
For
I'm going to cash in Photo Potato's minor hinder from earlier, and I'm going to crumble the pillar that one of you is hiding behind, and I'm going to roll a die, and I roll a d3. Number 1, it's Zoe. 2, it's Mike. 3, it's Izzy. 3, so the pillar behind Mr. Spider crumbles as a surge of emerald green lightning strikes it.
He looks to he'll look to Mr. Hound, who's behind the other pillar, and will just say, "Look, at the very least, say huzzah," and then we'll look to the others, and I guess we'll charge to engage her in combat.
Okay.
Because he's now realised that's his role in these proceedings.
So you're going to go up and skirmish with her with your mighty blade.
Huzzah!
Now, if you want your blade to be destined and magical and so forth, you of course have a special ability that can cover that. You will be making such a roll at desperate position. However, there is a minor help that has been redeemed from Hyperion. So I'll let you have a bonus die on whatever it is you wish to do.
I believe I'm going to be desperately inspired by the fact that
Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm not going to redeem the minor help yet.
Oh no!
I've got a better idea for it.
Better than me?
Well, yeah, no, well, I've got a. Okay, I'm going to cash in the minor help now because it might help Mike to formulate his plan. I'm going to cash in the minor help, and I'm going to impart it upon you for seizing Excalibur. Should you use the special ability to evoke a supernatural magical effect, it will not cost you any stress. Because Excalibur is the destined sword of the King of England, and as Arthur 1 previously stated, she is not right to wield it. And we have another minor help redeemed from Photo Potato, so I will give that minor help to Mr. Sir Spider as he charges Queen Morgana.
Huzzah! So that's risky. Great. No. Tell me.
It's a desperate. It's a desperate standard. So it's desperate standard. So because it's a desperate action, Mr. Spider, you mark XP. Assume it's skirmish that you're using.
Yes.
So you mark 1 XP in prowess automatically, and you charge the witch. And as you approach, the talons on her evil hand gauntlet ring things extend and become true metal claws. And she adopts a combat posture as you approach, and her hands crackle with green lightning.
Heavens. Nevertheless, one of those rolls was 6.
So you have skirmished at standard. Oh, it's so fantastic. So it was a success. So you will take a consequence anyway because it was a desperate position.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's a very minor consequence. So I think she is. You have been sliced at with these claws as you make an attack against her. So you're going to take the level 1 harm grazed unless you wish to resist it.
No, I think being grazed.
But
It's a dramatic cheek scar.
But you strike her. You strike her on the mystically toughened silken doublet that she's wearing over her robe. She snarls backwards, and you can see that the finely crafted blade has permanently gashed this piece of armor. She steps back and is momentarily off balance and is not issuing forth any vile magic at the moment. As such, anyone who attacks her next will no longer be at desperate position, as she's unable to retaliate.
I would like to sort of do my action in a way that is setting up for Mr. Hound to come in with Excalibur. So what I'm going to do is rush in on Russell, pull out my lasso.
Yep.
And I would like to lasso the bitch, wrap her up, in the lasso.
Yeah, excellent, perfect.
And sort of hold her there so that he can do what he needs to do. Hopefully, if it works.
Okay, make me a roll. What do you think this is going to be?
I think it's finesse, partially because I'm riding Russell, and partially because it's not like sleight of hand and that I'm trying to like hide something, but it is a very like dexterous kind of movement.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on board for that.
All right. So this is risky, not desperate, you said?
This is risky, not desperate.
And standard?
It's going to be at reduced effect because of your...
right.
Your sleepiness.
Can I...
Would you like... No.
Can I...
Would you like a devil's bargain?
Yeah, I was considering pushing myself.
Could you...
Oh. If I take a devil's bargain, do I still get the supernatural effect, or is that only when I push myself? Or are those like equivalent enough that it...
Well, the devil's bargain that I'm going to offer, I will let you. I'll give you a bonus die, or increased effect, whichever one it was you were going to push yourself for, and the side effect that you can do a supernatural effect, but the exertion of doing so is going to drag you into deep sleep. So this setup for King Hound to take down Morgana will be the last thing you do until you are awakened into the real world.
Will Sir Hound dramatically die on his charge?
Sir Lurk, but
Sir Lurk, yes, Sir Lurk will dramatically die, and it'll be
that is my bargain for you.
Yeah. Yes.
In which case, for accepting that, I'm going to award you a character experience point.
Ooh.
Because I always love sacrifice plays as a thing, and I am empowered by this game to reward shit I like.
Yeah.
So
It's actually standard effect now.
Thinking about that, I want to give Mr. Hound a character experience point as well for giving me the power to make the horse do something terrible, and then as a consequence of that, accidentally become the king. So yeah, your choice is you can either put it up to standard effect, or you can take a bonus die to doing it.
I'm already rolling 4 dice.
So
it feels like good odds, so I feel like I'm gonna do the increased effect.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do.
Okay, and I think for my supernatural effect, I want to. So I'm gonna. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Because she's wrapped up in this lasso. I would like to, as I'm rushing with the horse, I want to push everything out of my way. Like the force of the horse force,
Horse force, yeah.
just creates this, perfect clear tunnel so that, afterward, when Mr. Hound is coming, there is nothing in his way. I have cleared the path and readied her.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm on board for that.
Oh,
Okay, a 6. Okay, right. So, this I think is what's going to happen. You ride forth with this lasso, and it wraps around these briefly stunned Morgan. You pull it tight, and I think the way this goes is you ride forward, and the mighty tread of the noble steed. I think it scares any lingering guards in the throne room that might be about to crash down. And I think that just as you start to drift into deep sleep, the horse rears and makes her flinch, and then with a kick of your spurred boot, you kick her to the ground in front of King Arthur's throne. The horse rears and Sir Lurk falls unconscious from the horse. His last act in this tableau. But she is bound by the lasso, and she is essentially immobilized at the foot of your throne.
I'm a charge.
Huzzah. Yeah, I mean, she has no way of reacting to anything you might do. So this is your move against the Reverie Beast. So you tell me how it is you do whatever it is you do.
Well, it seems impolite to not use the vacant space that has been left for me to fully charge. As much as I was eyeing up Hunt and all the points I put in Hunt and imagining hurling Excalibur, perhaps in a fit of anti-colonialism.
I mean,
but yeah, why not? Like an overhead fling with the war cry of "Fuck England! This is for the strangers."
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
pull-
Okay. So okay. Right. So So Sir Lurk Sir Lurk kicks her to the ground, and with the last of his strength, and he falls from the horse, possibly unconscious, possibly dead. It's about to not matter, hopefully. Morgana's bound by this lasso that is supernaturally tight. She's really struggling. She struggles to her feet, and she says, "No one can wrest me from my power as long as I have my throne." And she backs to sit on the throne, but then a sword hilt protrudes from her. She falls backwards, but the length of the sword prevents her from landing on the throne she so coveted. She falls forward, shocked as she gazes down at the hilt of the prophesied sword that will rule England, and she falls limp to the floor and immediately withers into nothing but a thin film of black smoke that boils away before you. And you hear a thing sound. The princess says, "Oh, marvelously done."
Yeah, it was all right. My underwear is still wet.
I think we should go and fetch our young unconscious friend here, and just pop him on his throne, and pop the sword over his lap, and then I think everything will be well with the world again. And you go, and you see of course the classic thing. We see a wide shot of all of Morgana's guards fleeing for the hills, since their mistress has been defeated and the spell she has over them has broken. and you sit the young unconscious man upon the throne, lay Excalibur upon his lap, and yeah, and you all awake. Essentially, your experience, Mr. Lurk, was that you just fell asleep. You just fell into deep sleep. So when you awaken, it's just that you don't remember. You obviously weren't there for the last part of the dream, but that's all that happened to you. Any harm that you have taken, I'm not going.
I mean, my underthings could be damp in the real world. too.
Yes, indeed they could.
You know what they say.
What I'm going
Stay
What
up in
I'm-
your under
Aw.
things in the dream. You
What I'm
stay
going
in
to
them in
do
real life.
is if you have taken harm that isn't the tired harm you got from taking, if you took harm from a wound in the game, you will take 1 stress. Wipe out the wound, take 1 stress instead, and that's the end of that. The young man also sits up awake. Where am I? What is this? Do not worry. Oh, and he sees the professor and he goes, "Oh, Professor? Yes. Don't worry. Why don't you go into the kitchen and find something to eat? We'll talk later." Well, my friends, you did marvelously. I shall let Wilhelmina know that you've saved London from a terrible peril.
Yes, that went remarkably well.
You managed to find some of the gum pelagic. I trust you did not go to any great expense to do so.
Some.
Well, you must let me know. I shall be certain to reimburse you. It certainly seems to have paid off.
Yeah, not sure of the going rate. We pay 2 coin for it.
Under the circumstances, I would say that's more than fair.
I thought I might have been fleeced a little.
Also, you must apologise. We still have a doctor's bill to clear up. Your housekeeper was very worried, so we summoned our physician.
Oh,
who's
how much?
Likely still around.
How much?
Oh, simply 1 coin.
He hands you a sheaf of notes. That should be enough to cover both.
Wonderful.
With my
Here.
thanks. Oh, I see you. I see you are in disguise, even in the waking world. Well, I will not question you, since I know, for my own part, I know that Wilhelmina has many strange associates. I count myself easily among them.
Well, it is an honour to make your acquaintance, sir, and you must forgive us for having gone so intimately through your library in order to be.
Had I been a few hours more patient, it would have been unnecessary, and I cannot be churlish enough to be ungrateful that you have saved my life. And indeed, the consequences, had the Rachnatherios have grown and multiplied, would have been dire indeed, and even your skill would not have been enough to put an end to its rampage. So
No.
all of London should thank you.
Likely, but it was your library that guided me so aptly. It is a magnificent
yes,
thing,
well.
sir.
Well, it's a somewhat eclectic collection, but it has made me useful to Miss Constantine, who is a far more heroic figure. And as long as I'm useful to her, I can feel slightly less guilty for my general indolence.
Well,
Good evening, gentlemen. I have a young man to debrief. That sounded anyway. Just have one.
Mr. Spider will say, "Quite," and he'll reach into his card case and say, "For what it is worth, I think that you have the capacity to do great good in London with your knowledge. I would not dream of calling you an indolent sir, but a scholar. We are the gentlemen.
The gentlemen strangers. Well,
and we may be reached at the Aventine. Should you ever have need of a little more
of
action.
course. Well, likewise, should you have any need for me, you know where I am. Should my resources be useful to you again, we can discuss it. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
So congratulations. You have completed the hunt for the Reverie Beast in what I might say is remarkable style. So, you get some rewards for this. You get some rewards for doing this. So first of all, he gave you 3 coin. Shall I just put that coin back where it came from? There were 2
Yeah.
coin. There were 2 coin in the strong box of the gentleman strangers, and then one of you, is it Mr. Spider,
Yeah.
supplied.
Mr. Spider will have gone through the notes, pulled out the money he gave, and then will have handed the rest off to Mr. Hound.
Fine. So, good. So, I think you deserve a bit of a reputation boost for that, because the word is going to get out from a reliable source that the gentlemen strangers are the ones to go to. So I'm going to give you 2 reputation for that. I think that. What else? Well, you did. I think you got a coin reward in that. It didn't end up costing you. It didn't end up costing you much. To perform the ritual, so I think we'll call that fair enough. So let's get some experience points, shall we? Who would like to start?
I'm happy to.
Okay. Lovely. Mr. Hound. Let us begin with Mr. Hound. So let's start with experience points. Did you address a challenge with tracking or violence? Did you?
Yes, and in fact, I think I could safely say I did it multiple times.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So yeah, you can take some
I'm gonna grab
experience for that.
2 XP for that.
I think you can indeed. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I did express a dislike in colonialism.
I mean,
I would give him a point for that.
I can't deny that the sentiment "fuck England" certainly deserves an experience point. So you have fully advanced your character. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's fine. But you have advanced your character, so pick a special ability. You don't have to do it now unless you've got one in mind.
I think I'm going to take that scout.
Scout. When you gather info to locate a target, you get +1 effect. When you hide in a prepared position or use camouflage, you get +1 die to rolls to avoid detection. Oh, very nice. We like that a lot. Okay. So you have quite a lot of stress. So downtime time. What's the scheme?
I need to indulge a vice.
Yes.
And I don't really have the coin to really go and unload it upon the orphanage.
Sure.
So, and I owe the doctor. So I'm going to go dig up some bodies. I'm going to indulge my weird and go grave robbing.
You are going to go grave robbing.
Oh,
Okay, so
From
yeah.
King of England to grave robber.
So yeah,
Are they all that different, really?
go
Yeah.
ahead and indulge vice, and we'll see what happens.
No bonus die to this.
No.
A 1.
You resolve. Wow. Okay, you resolve one. It turns out that digging up all these bodies and delivering them on this particular occasion didn't make you. Maybe that's actually what you. Maybe you go. Oh, from King of England to this.
Yeah, like he's looking at the shovel, and for a moment you see him flashing back, holding the Excalibur itself, and he reflects briefly on maybe there's more he could be than this grave robbing little oaf, and then goes back to digging.
Maybe there is, but not tonight. There isn't. So yeah, that is that's one downtime. What is there anything? What's your next action?
I think skill training it costs, doesn't it?
Do you think it does? I don't think skill training costs anything.
Oh, then cool.
I've never said it does. You just say it costs a downtime action.
Then I'm gonna continue training my prowess.
Okay, I think that fills up your prowess with 1 to spare.
It does.
So yeah, pick a prowess action and pop a dot.
I was going to just start min-maxing prowl, but I think based on being a sword-wielding king for a while, I'm going to put that into skirmish.
Oh, nice. Oh God! Now I'm imagining you finish your shovel, you hold your shovel up, and it reminds you of the time you were Excalibur. And like I could see you doing, looking around, going,
Like a
"No one's here,"
flourish.
and practicing a couple of
Yeah.
guards with your shovel.
That's suitably macabre. I think that's a good way to kind of leave Hound for the session.
You start practicing some Talhoffer with this skeleton lurking there watching. Not skeleton. Why would you be digging up a skeleton? That's not very useful to the doctor. Okay, excellent. Who's next for some lovely downtime?
Sure. Oh yeah, I forgot that Izzy likes to go last. Yes.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I
Mr.
will
Sullivan.
be- Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan. What would you like to accomplish during your downtime?
I would like to no longer be stressed.
Yep. You can indulge. Oh, by the way, on this downtime, your tiredness will fade away. Between this downtime and the next adventure,
Okay.
the side effects of the flower will have gone completely. So yeah, that's done.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And which vice are you going to indulge?
Well,
Ah.
my wife is not available. So.
No, you have been cut off. You've been cut off
Yes.
from your vice purveyor for the time being.
So
After your
I'm gonna go shopping.
a bit of retail therapy. Okay. Yeah.
Izzy, are you laughing?
I didn't know your other vice was shopping.
He
It's
likes
not-
nice
it's
things.
yeah. One of the vices is a vice for luxury, and as it happens, Mr. Lurk is a clothes horse.
Are horses a luxury?
Horses are a luxury.
Can I buy a horse?
Right, okay.
I don't know why he's a horse guy now.
So the answer to can you buy a horse is, in general, yes, of course you can buy a horse. Your main problem with buying a horse is, you might spend a week's wages on getting a nice new suit that I don't care about the cost of. But for a horse, you also have to rent a stable outside of the city.
Yeah, I
and
was gonna
all
say
this
we
stuff.
live in London. It's probably
Yeah.
not the best place for a horse.
Save that for when you're rolling in it.
Yeah.
But yes, it is technically possible for you to buy a horse.
I will instead buy a nice riding jacket
A nice
for when I have a
riding jacket.
horse.
In case you are invited on a hunt, as often happens. Indulge vice. Let's see what we get for it.
Indulge vice. Submit
Ah,
4.
fantastic. You lose 4 stress. Brilliant.
I'm clicking it and it's not going away.
Let me have a look at these stress. You have to click on the number that it's not the most. Yeah, it's not very intuitive.
Okay.
Took me a while to figure that one out. Okay, yeah, fantastic. And your second downtime action.
I would like to. Do I want to just get rid of the rest of my stress?
You are absolutely entitled to do so. Yeah,
I think so. I think that's what I want to do.
it's
I
worth
will-
doing. Yeah,
I will get a nice.
you need to get some jodhpurs to go with your.
Perfect.
You get home. You get home with your nice riding jacket, and you go. Do you know what? This is not an outfit. So you go and get some jodhpurs and some nice riding boots, and your wife is very. I mean. Your wife remains inaccessible to you. She's not sure what this is about, but yeah, you have a nice.
Maybe if she were more affectionate, then I wouldn't have to spend all our money on clothes.
Wow! Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Another 4.
Wow! And you wiped out exactly the 4 stress that you had. I'd hate for you to be cut off both from your wife and your tailor.
Did you do Lurk's XP?
Not yet.
Oh, we haven't done Lexby. Thank you for reminding me. I went straight to downtime. So, Mr. Lurk, have you addressed the challenge with stealth or evasion?
I don't think that we were very. I mean, we tried to be stealthy, but I don't know that it counts because we weren't very good at it.
You addressed the challenge of getting to the secret side gate that no one was watching with stealth and evasion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't have to give yourself the experience point, but I'm satisfied.
I
Did you?
wasn't sure if it counted because it was more of like a group thing rather than me.
But
leading
you
it.
had
That you led.
but you had the
Oh, I
choice.
did lead it. I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
but also you had the choice to do it any other way.
That's true.
Yeah. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I was a cowboy.
Yeah,
which
you-
is what he's always
you-
wanted to be since he was a little boy.
You got to lasso the evil queen. I mean, that's
true.
yeah. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session, except for adding a third vice, horse?
I don't think so.
Okay, fine. Good. Is there anything else that I think that's it?
think that's it.
Fantastic. And you've done your downtimes. So, Nathaniel Breaker, what are you about on your downtime?
Oh, so much, so much. He's a top lad, but he's a top lad who is very stressed. Very stressed indeed. So I think what he is going to have to do is he is going to. Oh, hang on, we lose all our dots from.
Yeah, you lose your bonus dots from the dreamscape.
Goodbye, skirmish. I'll miss you. So what he's going to do is he is going to, I think, go and do a copious amount of drugs.
Okay. You indulge your stupor vice.
Yep.
So yeah, indulge away.
Indulge vice. No bonus.
So 6. You indulge 6. Or is it the highest die? Or is it the total?
Clear an amount of stress equal
Oh,
to the
highest die is up. Fine. So
Sorry.
you clear 5 stress.
I do one.
It can't be the total, or if you were too well built a character, you'd always overindulge, and that'd be terrible.
5. No, hang on. Yep.
And for
And
your
the-
second downtime action,
For my second downtime action, I should like to follow in the traditions of a very clever sort, and also I would like to increase my prowess.
okay, take 2 experience in prowess.
Again, because I think there is that little boy part of Nathaniel's heart. He's in the Millennium Club. There's a stick or something, or a wooden practice sword, or even like a cane or something, and he just goes, "It could be a knight.
Absolutely.
I could do that."
Absolutely. And I think because you have
I have my third downtime action.
third downtime action, yeah.
And since everyone seems to be good on stress and injury and stuff, what should I do? What do we have for the group? Do you have anything we're working on together?
Well, there's a couple of individual projects that people are doing.
Yeah.
You have a project you're working. You're going through on the encoding of magical texts.
Yeah.
Mr. Hound is tracking down some McCreary stuff, etc. There's all sorts of things
That's
going
fine.
on.
That leads me to believe that I'm going to continue on the encoding of magical texts.
Perfect. Roll me a roll.
Study?
I think it's a study. Yep.
Just controlled standard?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just a regular old time. Oh, that's 5.
That's a 5. Fantastic. That's a 5. That is 2 segments on the clock. So you are you're doing very well indeed. You're at 5 out of 8 on
Picking myself up.
on that project. Fantastic.
And
Okay.
the XPs.
And some experience points for Mr. Spider. Mr. Spider, did you address a challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
So I think I did with the going in to face the Reverie Beast, if not once we were in the dreamscape. But I know that that's not part of the score, so I don't know if that counts.
Did you in the session address a challenge
Oh,
with?
yeah.
Yeah, fine. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
So I did in my choice of knight, but again, I'm not sure if I had an impact on the plot.
I mean, when you
I
were
got the King
given
of England to...
when you were given the power to sort of mold your character and take extra power, you spent those points on better embodying the character that you'd chosen to play. So I mean, maybe that counts.
Yes. And I did get the King of England to say huzzah, which is all I wanted, really.
Again, it's always up to you to decide.
Yeah, I think so. I think his choice reflects a lot about him.
Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
You know, I thought he would, but not today.
Okay. So you're one away from full, is that right?
Am I? I haven't got my couch yet.
Oh, have you not been adjusting your experience points as you go?
No, I thought you would.
Oh, in which case, you have gained 2 experience points, and you have in fact advanced. So you may choose a special ability.
I have thoughts. We'll discuss them.
We'll discuss them. Very well. Good. Thank you very much for defeating the Reverie Beast and saving London. But we must turn our gaze elsewhere. The velvet-robed celebrant kneels once more and begins to fill the third of its mystical circle's 8 segments. Around this rite, the chanters have ceased their wordless harmonious droning and are chanting words, not in unison, but 3 names are repeated by all of them: Euros, Volturnus, Apeliotes. The sound would undoubtedly be a cacophony if you were listening to it, but it's not addressed at you, is it? The figure has finished the third of the 8 segments. While drawing, or writing, has consisted of many strange glyphs, there is a contiguous shape forming within the perimeter of the circle, but enclosing the glyphs. Something is familiar about this. There's a human imperfection to it. The figure doesn't rise from its knees, but lifts its head and arms once more to the ceiling and says, "I bind thee, te vincio quarantinam. I, as thy master, command thee, Euros, to muster the spirits thou dost govern, and call them to these skies." Elsewhere, the London fog is beginning to thin, drawn away by an unexpected wind from the east. Yet unseen, the starry sky continues to darken, and the clock for the gathering storm gains its third of 8 segments. Thank you all for joining us for Chapter 4 of The Gentleman Strangers, Book 2. If all goes according to plan... Oh, gosh. Good Lord, it'll be December. If all goes according to plan, we will see you again. Well, unfortunately, our session after that is on Christmas Day. Sorry, everyone. That's just, I run a very tight ship around here. So our upcoming dates are the 11th and then the 25th of December.
We'll have to be there.
Do you know what? Actually, Izzy and I will be in Norfolk with my family. So
the Wi-Fi won't be good.
The Wi-Fi
will be very juddery.
Won't be amazing.
Very low
But
quality.
we will gather once again on the 11th of December. And I will try to plead with my wonderful players to see how many of them I can get to show up on the 18th for a Christmas session.
Christmas special.
But in any case, at least I and one other person will be back for the 11th of December, same time, same place, for more Gentlemen Strangers. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. If you joined us late and want to catch up, then keep an eye on the skies for the YouTube VOD, where I try to cut it up with proper scenes and stuff. It only remains for me to thank our wonderful Patreon supporters who keep the lights on around here. Andre Cherupnine, Araloki, Dinkledore, Eligos Alexander, Henry Prestige, James Malloy, Joe, Ken Poyner, the Michaels, Bowman, Fielding, and Kilburn, Photosynthetic, and the Armchair Egyptologist. Thank you all to those wonderful people and the two nerds among them. We are very fond of you all, and we think it's fantastic of you to support us. Whether you support us by throwing money at our dumb faces or by showing up to watch our dumb faces role-playing. Trash bags in the chat for all of our Patreon supporters. We love you very much, and we will see you next time.